Facebook page. Again, also later on in our program, we're going to be having our virtual town hall meeting with a group of local and global experts. Now's the time. If you have any questions about diabetes, please give us a call. Our number is 671-637-0094. You can also post your questions right now in our comments section on Facebook. But first, let's get to Uncle Carl. Good morning. Are you there?
Yeah.
And again, he is joining us via phone. Governor, are you there? Okay. I think we are having a connection issue. We're going to try and get him back on the line. We wanted to talk to the governor on the latest with our tourism industry, and maybe even talk about him being the permit czar. Definitely going to be a lot of activity as we start seeing the money from ARP rolling out into our community, as well as funding from the recent infrastructure bill that was signed by the president earlier this week. As you heard during the press conference yesterday with the governor, $193 million expected to be brought to the territory, and that's going to be used over the next 5 years to improve roads, infrastructure, cybersecurity, the airport, the port, and also we're also waiting on action by Congress on the BBB, the Build Back Better Act. And so now I believe we've reestablished our connection with the former governor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. Who is this?
This is Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina. You sound different on the phone.
Yeah, you kind of sound different too. But we're still here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Soon, right?
Yeah. So how are things going over at GVB? I noticed that you guys had some familiarization tours going on. We have had some Korean media, and now I understand we have some Japanese tour agents and social media influencers are here. Can you kind of explain, is this kind of the new strategy for GVB?
Not necessarily new, but we were out in sun with it, and we're kind of rushing to make sure that we don't get left behind, because we're facing a lot of strong competition. So we got to get in front of them, and we're offering it more than, and even the paying of the PCR is sort of unique. I don't think anybody else in the world has offering it.
Mm-hmm. What did you say? I'm sorry. The PCR?
Yeah, well, we're getting Koreans in right now by the tons, right? And that we're offering to pay their PCR test to return to back to Korea, mm-hmm. And that would have been $200 of their vacation money. So that's a big hit for us.
Right. And, I wanted to talk about the CDC. They implemented the new mandatory vaccinations, I think, for foreign nationals they coming into the United States. How's that been going for GVB?
Well, of course, that hurts us because they we were doing the Airbnb, although some are still coming through with the from the Philippines and Asia, but they really knocked out our Taiwan market. They knocked out our already slated charter flights, 22 charter flights, because they wouldn't be able to get on the flight until they were vaccinated, and their whole purpose was to come here to get vaccinated. But the way we're seeing it right now, that's not necessarily lost completely. Our next strategy, as soon as the CDC number 4 category, where we're at right now, at least goes down to 3, which is hopefully in the next week or so, just the way we're looking at the CAR scores, that we can now market Airbnb for the booster shots from Taiwan.
Okay. Statistics are showing that Japan outbound, it's been increasing, but still a fraction of pre-pandemic numbers, right? What's it going to take, in your opinion, and how long do you think it will take to see a return to the big numbers that we used to see?
For Japan or Korea, it's naturally we're hoping at least to $200,000 to the end of this fiscal year, which was up September 30. The way we're forecasting it, and the way the six Korean carriers are already cranking up. Some are coming here already, but for the most part, it'll be the end of this month and into December, January. So if we raise, we can hit 200,000 from Korea and possibly more. The way we're looking at how Korea has really beaten the odds and are way in front of their vaccination rate. I think that Japan also, from what I understand, is now wanting to get a piece of the action on the payment of the PCR test going back. So it's just to see how fast they move. It's more on the return of the Japanese tourists or the Korean tourists that is really the problematic part of it, is that once they stop and lower the quarantine requirements going back, I think that they'll start flying out Guam. Guam is 3.5 hours away, 3.5 hours away, and we're the number one U.S. market for Korea, number one, and Japan, of course, looks at us as a close. They want to travel, and where do they travel to? 3 hours away. So it's the way Japan's moving. I think that they're listening to the stringency of their protocol.
Right. And we're talking a lot about Korea. We even talked about Korea the last time you were on the program, and I thought that you were supposed to be heading to Korea. I want to say around this time.
Right, and then they did not ultimately approve us coming in. They probably would say maybe January to the kind of business where it's really very, very strict on what kind of business you're going to do there, and so they kind of nixed us. First, there was we were booked on Korean Airlines locally. They accepted our bookings, but then the Korean Airlines in Korea said no, that's only for Korean citizens. So then it was like too hard to move for the other low fare carriers. So it's they're still very strict about other people coming into Korea.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. Whatever happened, and what is the latest with? You're still kind of trying to partner with Palau. Is that still?
Yes, that was part of the discussion that would go on in Korea. And so we're still pursuing it, electronic-wise, but we really need to sit down with the people in Korea, Ministry of Transportation and actual carriers. So that's part of our mission when we were going to go to Palau. To Korea.
I did want to ask, BBMR recently, they released the report on the allocation and the expenditures for some of the ARP funding, but I don't believe I saw the Guam Visitors Bureau on that list. Are you guys still anticipating to receive any of the ARP money?
Oh, no, we've gotten already into our account $20 million.
Okay.
The key here is that we're going to roll out next week the real purpose of because we wanted the governor to sort of determine the kind of purpose she would want that $20 million to go to, and I believe she's developed her and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio have developed a long-range vision for tourism in Guam, and we're working on that vision for her to make a presentation, and and it's going to require a little bit more money, but certainly that's already in our account, by the way, just to let you know.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yes. We kind of wanted to make sure that when she sends it to us, with some kind of a caveat so that we can do a long range planning. Sometimes it's hard to long range plan when the management doesn't have the full control of what to do with funds. That's the board's policy. But this is the governor's money. She's going to make that determination.
Do you have, I guess, can you share with us anything about what the plan is for the $20 million?
Well, pretty soon, but I can't really now because the governor, we briefed the lieutenant governor yesterday. The governor has arrived back. So we're going to give her a fuller brief, and then we'll make her make that determination on rolling it out in a bigger fashion than just an announcement.
I see. Is it going to go to marketing? Is it going to go to like beautification or anything like that? Can you tell us?
Well, it's hard. I want to get in, move up. It's going to be a long-range vision that the governor has told us what she wanted that money for, and so we're developing sort of a concept, and it's not just going to be a GBB, a Guam function, but it's probably work it out like how I worked it out in the past with the public-private partnership that we did with Pleasure Island. Because we haven't really done anything other than build hotels here. We're going to do something more of bringing attractions to Guam, and then people will come here for that attraction, and then naturally you have to look for a hotel, so that becomes secondary.
Good morning, Gov. This is Jason again. I'm good morning, buenas. I'm seeing also a lot of we haven't talked about it maybe in about a month or so, but there's a lot going on social media. People really wanting to see what's going to come from the Matapang project. I know a lot of people are very interested in what can come out of that.
Well, it's already, we're doing the infrastructure, the groundwork up now. That's moving forward. Hopefully, in the next 2 months, the bid will go out. We've got to put a storm drainage in, etc. That's moving forward, and that's we already got 14.8 million plus another couple of millions we have set aside. So that's moving forward. We got, we were trying to hopefully get $18 million from EDA funding, but instead we got $14.9 million from another source. That I think is still EDA, but that came pretty fast, and so we're getting some funds into the GBB coffers. And so it is moving forward, and in partnership with Public Works and Vince Ariola, we are really pooling our monies together.
You mentioned Public Works. I'm sure you are aware of the president signing the historic infrastructure act into law, which will go to improvements to water infrastructure, roads, bridges, etc. Are you anticipating that any projects will go towards improving the roads, and especially like the flooding down in Tumon?
You're very smart, Sabrina. You know that Harvard there is never long, right? And so as soon as they signed that darn thing, I saw Biden sign that. The governor and the lieutenant governor immediately got my dips in there for $20 million to do infrastructure right around in Tumon as well. So that's pretty smart.
Right. All right.
We get $20 million, and we've got some of the vision moving forward.
Awesome. And so I did want to ask about how it's going down in Tumon, because I don't get out a whole lot, and maybe I should. So how's it going? Because I know that we've had the Carl Vincent on Guam, and I think Cope North is coming up. How are the businesses doing down there?
Hello?
Yes.
I lost you there a little bit. What was
with the military that's been on Guam? How has it been going down in Tumon?
Well, they gave us a shot in the arm, of course, and a couple of businesses in anticipation of them coming in actually opened up, and we're trying to get them to continue to stay open because the Koreans are on their way. We're trying to get the smaller optional tours open up as well, because they are seeing, and seeing is believing. And they're hopefully that would be the impetus for them to open up their businesses. And I know GIDA has been very helpful in getting them some funds to be able to offset their losses. And that we're working very closely with Mel and Eric Camacho there at GIDA and Joanne Camacho to partner up with us while they provide some funds to ease the burden of those industry partners that have restaurants and other stores. They are now seeing that there is in fact light at the end of this tunnel, and Koreans walking around guiding and doing all those things are giving a good sign for those people that are in that kind of business.
Gov, how challenging has it been from a strategic standpoint to, or I guess I should say, have we even had to modify our approach to hospitality, because of course as Guamanians, we always roll out the red carpet, and Governor, you know better than anybody, you've hosted heads of state, and you've always been very accommodating for anyone who seeks your time. But these really awkward times that we've had to go through the last like almost 2 years and everything, they've forced us to adjust. So have we even had to modify our traditional form of literally the campaign, the marketing campaign before was called Welcome All Visitors Enthusiastically. So how much of a challenge has that been in being able to welcome people to the island and let them experience the island in the way that we've been accustomed to?
Just as with that question, as you have recognized it, we at the outset when Jerry and I first got into the GVB, is that we're going to go back to the cultural-centric way that Guam was promoted. In 1970, Guam people were coming here because of the people and the culture and the nice, clean, friendly beaches area. And so we're going back to the future, or going to the future, but going back first to this very reason that tourism really hit it well on Guam. So that's part of the vision that we're going to move forward. Is let's get back to our cultural-centric sale for the island, and get the people involved, and not only will the people enjoy whatever we're going to put out there, but they would also be a learning process for our children and immerse themselves in the culture and the arts of tomorrow. We want to wrap everybody into this project, and without having to say any more, hopefully the governor can explain more on this vision.
All hands on deck, all aboard.
Thanks for the hint. All right, Gov. Any final comments? Any message to the people?
Well, people of Guam, you're seeing it, you're believing it, and you're still the one.
There you go. Thanks, Gov.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays, Gov.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. All right, that was Governor Carl Gutierrez. Didn't know that they received $20 million already in ARP funds. So good for GVB. He did kind of hint that next week the governor may be rolling out her plan, her vision for tourism going forward. So that's something we can all look forward to for next week. But today, 11:30, the governor will be holding a press conference, as we mentioned earlier, to announce the easing of restrictions. What that all means, we'll have to wait and see.
You've got to think too that like Uncle Carl has got to be, everybody's been frustrated, everybody's tired, everybody's confused, but he's always been somebody that and whether you agree with his methods politically or anything like that, that's completely irrelevant. He has always been someone who gets stuff done. Everybody agrees on that. And throughout this whole pandemic experience that we've always been through, we've interviewed him so many times on the show, and he'll come on one time and he'll say, yeah, we got a plan in action, we're meeting about it, we believe we've got a good strategy, we're communicating with our partners, and then the next week something comes up and he's like, all right, now we got to put that on hold, or we got to do a 180, we got to pivot, we got to modify or whatever like that. So the fact that they're right on the precipice of executing and everything like that is actually pretty inspiring.
Yeah, and he's good though. He's very quick. When we asked about the Biden, the infrastructure law, he already hit up the governor like, hey, over here. So I tell you what, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more on the link.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, special presentations?
TV has been on the air for 65 years. 65 years of growing, changing, and adapting to the needs of our local community. 65 years of making you smile, laugh, and cheer, and being there for you in times of tears and heartbreak, and learning to heal together. We've kept you on the edge of your seats, been a trusted source for you to turn to, weathered many storms together, and celebrated life's big moments. And now at 65, we celebrate all the firsts we brought you over the years, and all the firsts that lie ahead as our world changes. KUAM TV, celebrating 65 years of firsts on Guam.
Get ready to run or ride to 22 with the Miles Challenge. Join the challenge from now till January 31st to rack up those miles on foot or by cycling. Runners can choose from 100, 200, and 300 miles. Cyclists 300, 600, and 900 miles. Go to mileschallenge.com to select your challenge and register today. The Run and Ride to 22 Challenge is brought to you by Uproar, Trench Challenge, Kill Cliff, and KUAM Communications. Donation proceeds to benefit the EMC Cancer Foundation. Guam is good.
Let's get merry during the most wonderful time of the year by making spirits bright. KUAM Communications and Coast 360 want to highlight your decorations and lights by flooding the social media pages of KUAM with your videos and photos. Finish your holiday setup, snap a few shots or video of your delightful display, and send it to us through social media or email them to promotions@KUAM.com. Check out our posts every Friday or tune in to KUAM News Weekend Edition for a special montage of the submissions certain to be making spirits bright with every broadcast. Warmest holiday wishes from KUAM Communications and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
This holiday season, we're once again bringing together the island's largest array of local vendors for a special innovative way for you to shop, broadcast, and go digital with Team KUAM. Join us on Sunday, November 28th for the annual Christmas Pops Virtual Holiday Market at 12 noon on KUAM TV8 and the KUAM News Facebook page, plus additional show times through December 11th. We'll also be featuring vendors daily with posts with QR codes and links on our social media pages beginning Monday, November 29th, and hosting an exclusive Christmas Pops website for your one-stop shopping. It's a safe and convenient way for you to shop local this holiday season. To reserve your spot, email promotions@KUAM.com today. Virtual space is limited.
Presented by UOG School of Business and Public Administration, JA Guam, inspiring youth, and the Guam Visitors Bureau, making Guam a better place to live, work, and visit.
Join KUAM every Wednesday on Primetime for Inside Business. It's our new weekly segment featuring the struggle of Guam's businesses during this global pandemic. We'll hear from industry leaders about the difficult decisions they were forced to make to implement cutoffs, layoffs, and shorten hours just to survive. It's the other side effect of COVID, the island's economic crisis. We'll also feature new businesses that managed to open and thrive during these challenging times. It's Inside Business every Wednesday on KUAM News Primetime. Take in the panoramic beauty of our island each Sunday on the KUAM News Instagram with Scenic Sundays. Scroll through the natural beauty of the island on display. Scenic Sundays on the KUAM News Instagram is brought to you by Addis Trust and Investment, Location, Service, Trust, and Haagen-Dazs Shops Guam, where every day is made extraordinary.
We know you're tired of hearing about COVID-19. Some of you are probably wondering whether this is ever going to end. However long it takes, we all have to do our part, including our children, to hold the line. You can protect yourself and your family by getting vaccinated.
And if you're already vaccinated, don't let your guard down because you can still give and get COVID-19. And if you're not vaccinated, remember that if you catch the virus, you could suffer more severe complications. At the end of the day, it's the choices we make to protect ourselves, our families, and our community that will control the spread.
We know it sounds repetitive at this point, but again, wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask.
Together, we have to hold the line.
Pacific Matters is a half-hour news, culture, and lifestyle show focused on issues that impact Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the larger Pacific region. Join Tomas Magonia every Monday to discuss politics, trends, and take a deep dive into the issues changing our island home, because what happens in the Pacific matters.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KUAM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
Take care. Our island, your health plan.
All right, everybody, we still anticipate that big announcement that's going to happen at 11:30, so make sure to stay glued to our Facebook page where we're going to have the governor's forthcoming press conference about what is happening. But until then, it has been a big week in Island athletics. So here's Dave Delgado with your Sports Link, getting you caught up on everything that happened in the world of Guam sports.
Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
Notre Dame is heading to this year's IIAG Girls Volleyball Championship game. The Lady Royals defeated Guam High in 4 sets at home, 25-21, 28-26, 23-25, 25-18.
Our serves, we took advantage because that's like the one time we all have the ball to ourselves. So serve hard or go home. So that serving definitely took advantage of that. Our coaches always say 0-0. We just, even if we win or lose, we get back at it. So that really stood out to us. It's our home, so either way, if it's not our home, we still defend, but it's our home, so we had to defend.
After a 10-10 tie in the first set, Indy was able to take the lead and hold on to it. The home team ended the set after a late run. Serving errors midway through the second set cost Guam High to give up their lead. Cameron Thompson and Amani Washington rallied to put their team up 24-22. Notre Dame scored 2 straight to even the set at 24. Another Panthers serving error evened the score at 26. The Royals would go on to score 2 in a row for the 28-26 second set victory.
We had good teamwork, and we've been working together ever since, and we all have a bond. So we all place trust on each other.
ND started the third set on fire to lead 5-0. With the game tied at 23, the visiting squad closed out the set, scoring 2 straight for the 25-23 win. In the fourth, Faith Piper powered the Royals ahead 11-8. The defending champs won a big rally down the stretch to keep a 1-point advantage. Royals end the game on an 8-1 run for the game winner, 25-18. With the win, the Lady Royals advance to the finals.
I feel really honored, and I feel honored that he has faith in me that I can perform, especially in the circumstances. I feel very honored, especially because my mom went to ND too, so I feel very honored.
It was an all-season high matchup in the IIAG Boys Beach Volleyball Finals. Senior Xander Duenas and VJ Rosario faced off against teammates Tyrone Bucas and Gerald Milana. Rosario and Duenas go up 4-3 after this shot by Rosario earlier in the first set. The pair led 11-8 after an ace by VJ. Bucas and Milana showed good communication on the court, calling out their shots. Gerald sets up Tyrone for the soft shot right in front of the net. Shout out to FD player Dave Blossom for helping keep score for the championship match. VJ and Xander led by as many as 4 points. Great dive by Rosario to extend the play. Duenas gets the return over. Milana sets up Bucas. VJ with the feedback to Xander. Money's in the bank, and they cash out with the 21-18 first set win.
It was pretty fun, especially knowing our opponents. We see them at practice, you know. There was a little like trash talking, but you know, it's all love at the end of the day, and we really enjoyed. It was good playing with fellow Tizan, like partners.
Xander turned it up in the second set to help his team score 5 straight. The two led 10-4 behind an ace by Rosario. VJ setting it up for Xander again. Xander catches the defense off guard and puts it right down the net.
This is friends against friends, and it was more about fun. Who had the most fun in this game? You know, throughout the whole season, Gerald and Tyrone were always kicking our butts. You know, they would lose against them, and at the end of the season, it finally shows how much work we put in. Once I found out that it's a beach season, first person I looked at to be my partner is Xander. Xander is really trustworthy. I really wanted him to play with him, especially because we thought we didn't have a season. So I was very excited and grateful to play with my boy Xander. I'm very grateful for Coach Palma and Coach Bird because ultimately their money coming out of their pockets to bring us the season. So I'd like to thank them and the amazing coaching they give us. Me, VJ, none of these boys would be here without them.
The Academy Cougars are heading back to the IIAAG girls volleyball title game. The Cougars beat the St. John's Knights 25-20, 18-25, 25-19, 25-18 for a chance to defend their title.
We were 5th place, and we knew that we could take advantage of it because no one would expect us to play hard. And I know that we can do this, and I just have to believe in my team and just trust each other and play with our heart. It took all 6 players to step up, not just 1 or 2. We really played really hard, and I'm just so proud of us, and I just can't believe it.
Academy player Gabriela Mata helped keep the Cougars ahead after getting her shot to fall in bounds. Academy went up by 4 points behind an ace from Hinengi St. Nicholas for the 23-19 lead. Academy went on to take the first set 25-20. The match had several exciting rallies, with each team winning their fair share of exchanges. St. John's Kaya Malakuti came through for her team as the Knights won the second set 25-18. The Cougars started the third set with 3 straight scores, followed by a big rally that went their way for the 4-0 lead. Mata put down another shot midway through the set, extending Academy's lead 13-8. The Cougars never trailed after securing the lead. Isabella Paulino with the diving save to keep the ball alive. Cougars take the third set 25-19 and went on to win the fourth set 25-18.
Being a freshman on this team, starting and coming here competing against the first place team coming last, it's really an amazing and good feeling to be a part of this team and to win this game. We're going to the ship.
Starting off the season, we were a very young team, you know, and it really did show throughout the season. But gradually, we got better and we got to know each other more and have more faith in each other. And now that it's time for the championships, we're showing what we have, what we know we've always had. I think it doesn't matter what grade any of the girls are. You know, we're a team and we play together and we have fun together.
Adrian Cabradilla, Trike Esports Smash head coach, Daryl Dianzan, technician and Smash player. Let's talk about the esports program there at UOG. Since getting it kicked off, what has the feedback been with the student athletes?
When I entered the esports program, I was really shocked when I heard about the mental coaching and the physical coaching. I was really happy about it because I felt like I really wanted to grow as a person, and I needed, help when it comes to growing. And this program has really helped me out. I think I've got to become a better person, a healthier person at that. And it's really helping me grow and able to, and also allowing me to have fun doing these things, having fun with my friends, building relationships, and making sure that as a person, I become a better leader and grow as an individual that can hopefully in the future lead the Guam's esports team.
This program really emphasizes the fact that you really need to have good work ethic, basically everything you need, work ethic, just good attitude, a good discipline in regards to anything you do. Because if you notice, if you have a good discipline, good work ethic, it really shows whenever you're in either, not even in esports, either the physical fitness side, the mental side, or even when whatever you're doing. So everything you do in this program really translates to the bigger picture on how you do your career outside of esports and whatever you really want to pursue in life. So that's really what we want to try to achieve in this program.
Switching over to programming news now, Monday, November 22nd at 4 in the morning on KUAM TV 11, NFL on CBS, the Miami Dolphins at New York Jets. Switch the channel over to KUAM TV 8 at 11:20 in the morning, NBC Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers at Los Angeles Chargers.
SportsLink is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
Pittsburgh Steelers at Los Angeles Chargers.
SportsLink is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
All right, always good things happening on the island with sports, and always good things happening from our friends at the Salvation Army Guam chapter. We are joined once again, and I would say if we haven't even talked to Captains Eric and Carrie Rudd over there at Salvation Army, it has been too long, and it's been a lot longer than that. So, guys, happy holidays. Welcome to the show once again. It's so good to see you guys.
Thank you so much. Buenas and half a day.
Half a day.
It's been too long, and it is good to see and talk to you guys. It feels like we're still isolated a little bit from our COVID, but it's good to meet with you guys and see you.
I cannot wait when we all sit down and we can face to face. Yeah, we can do an interview together. We can share a meal together. We can just crack a couple jokes.
I would like that. That'd be very. I'll even pick up the tab.
But, hey, there you go. Well,
you got it recorded.
Well, we do appreciate, you guys giving us, a few moments of your time here, because I realize, this time of year for the Salvation Army, there's not a lot of it to go around and everything like that. So let's start at the top of, Captain Eric and Captain Carrie's to-do list and everything like that. An agenda a mile long and everything. Obviously, the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, is first on the docket. So what are you guys planning?
Thanksgiving this year, we're still taking donations for Thanksgiving. We are buying Balutan-style dinners from Dusitani at $13 a piece. And we have teams of 4 people that are going to go out to a variety of different places on the island to make sure that all of the unhoused folks of our community are fed this year. So that's the goal. Right now we're looking at 250 meals, but we literally, we had $1,000 to spend out of our budget.
So we doubled it.
And so we were given $1,000 from a company. And so whatever we're given, we will convert that directly into a meal for someone that needs it.
The fact that this is our second year that we're not able to gather together down at Chamorro Village is kind of, it's a bittersweet thing, but we're going to continue to go out and meet the needs that people have.
So again, if people want to make that monetary donation, what's the number to call, or how can they do that?
Okay. So the number that they would call in order to make a donation would be 671-489-0787. And we will make that happen. And literally 100% of what's given is going to go directly to Thanksgiving.
Okay. What about the pantry? You guys still need donations for that as well, right?
We do, ongoing. We are starting preparations for Christmas distribution. And so we'll be making hundreds of food boxes. And so all donations of non-perishable goods, canned goods, dried goods are all very, very valuable to us.
And our friends that don't have stuff, it makes all the difference in the world. If you don't have a little bit of rice and you're able to go in and get some food for your kids, it makes the day a lot better. So absolutely.
And certainly there are a lot of mouths to feed on the island, unfortunately and everything like that. But, we always appreciate you guys being on the case. And, and of course we roll from Thanksgiving, and there's Christmas coming up right around the corner.
What?
I know.
You didn't get the memo, and you're even growing out your beard, Santa, and everything.
Yeah.
I forgot to write it down.
What a coincidence!
I'll make sure he shows up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I can see how you guys might have 3 or 4 things on your mind and everything with that the thrift store opening, but we'll get to that in a moment. But when
Christmas distribution, we are taking applications right now, and so if someone is interested in receiving toys and food, they will call 477-3528 and choose option 2. If no one answers, leave your name and a message, and Sam will get back to you and sign you up for toys. We are looking for a goal of 400 families. That would be 1,600 to 1,800 children. We're about 3/4 of the way there. And so we are still taking applications. If anybody is in need We are so well supported by Toys for Tots and the Marines. We'll take care of you.
So yeah, absolutely. If you have friends or family members and you know they might need a little bit of extra help, please let them know.
So that number again, everybody, 671-477-3528, and you want to choose option number 2.
You got it.
And you can apply to actually be a recipient of
exactly.
Thank you, guys.
There's also the Red Kettle Campaign that's starting.
Red Kettle Campaign, yes.
Ding, ding,
starting
ding,
this
ding.
Monday.
Ding, 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 ding.
We have the shifts, the locations, and the times posted on Salvation Army GU on Instagram as well as Facebook. The number, if you are looking to volunteer, because we need Christmas volunteers.
Happy
for our
little
kettles,
elves, yes.
Okay, is 477-9818. And if you can, even if you can only do 2 hours, it raises, it helps us. It helps us tremendously. And it's fun because you're a part of the community and you're able to bring out your hat and candy canes and your bells and you can sing. It's a good time. Bring a friend when you do it.
I'm putting all sorts. I've got like basically a whole phone directory of numbers that you guys have given us in our comments right now. So
I know.
So hey, if anybody watching right now, if you want to see, like again, if you want to participate for the Thanksgiving food drive, if you'd like to make a donation, if you would like to apply once again to be a recipient of Christmas toys, or if you would like to volunteer, the numbers are all on our comment stream right now. So make sure, hit up those phones. And remember, dial 671. Yeah, you got to do that.
Right.
But there's also something else. You guys got a lot going on tomorrow.
Yes. Come on, drum roll. Yes. Our thrift store has been down for a month and a half, almost 2 months now. We have moved around the corner from our previous location behind the Pizza Hut on Marine Corps Drive, just down the street and around the corner, exactly 1 mile on Chelan, San Antonio. 370 Chelan, San Antonio, right down the street from California Mart on the same side of the street. And we will have a 10,000 square foot warehouse. It's not open yet because it's hotter than a Dickens in there. There's no AC. But Doris and her little Christmas elves have been hard at work. And the front building is our Christmas boutique. And she has Christmas trees and stockings and stocking stuffers and ornaments and tree skirts, everything that you can imagine at the lowest possible prices you can find. And she's a bargain hunter. She's going around to all the other places on island to see if she can beat the price, and she's doing it. So
guys,
it will be a one morning only sale initially on Saturday tomorrow from 8 to noon. Unfortunately, we are only able to accept cash at this point, but very soon we'll ramp up. We'll get that air conditioning in the other building, and I'll have Chris and his son come on down and look for some LP records. I got a whole bunch of vinyl.
Guys, you are talking right here. The undisputed heavyweight champion, Sabrina, is the queen of thrifting. She knows a good bargain when she sees it. But you know what? And I guess we should stress that a thrift store, actually, it's bi-directional. It works both ways, right? You can find really good bargains, or if you have stuff that you would like to donate, you can also make a contribution so that you would improve somebody else's. I mean, this may be like an heirloom that you've got an extra one of, or you just say, like, you know, I think someone would appreciate this. It may be something that they pass down in generations from their family on their Christmas tree.
Yeah. It is, I don't know, it's one man's trash is someone else's treasure, right?
Precisely.
And the fact that as we're cleaning out and everyone's reading their very condo and we're simplifying our lives and finding joy in some things and setting other things aside, if people would think about us when they donate, that'd be great. We'll put it back into the system and recycle it and give it a new, fresh life for someone here on our island. So,
and the revenue that we make for the Salvation Army thrift store stays here on island, and we're able to put it right back into this community of Guam.
All right. And you guys have been here long enough right now. And Captain Eric, I can tell it must be hot, you know, in the new thrift store, because if you've been here on Guam and you know what island heat is, and you're saying it's way hot, I'm not even going to challenge that assertion.
It is. It's unbearable. So, but our crew's been working really hard, and I think when we finally do open in another week or so, I think people will be overjoyed. It's a wonderful space. Our staff has done a great job at setting it up, and like I said, it's more than twice the size of our previous place.
And you guys know about the Luton boxes. You know, you guys love red rice. You guys love, you know. So you guys are right here. You know, you guys are as Guamanian as they get, and we really do appreciate you guys being part of our island family.
We appreciate you guys so much.
Okay.
God bless you guys.
Yeah, so we got to run, but tell you what, and we're gonna let you guys work the phone calls because I'm sure all those numbers I put in comments and everything are like they're gonna be ringing off the hook. So you know, happy to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right. God bless you guys too, and happy holidays. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So please, everybody, lots of opportunities to get something, but as is a holiday spirit, a lot of opportunities to give something and make somebody else's life a little bit brighter. So go check out our friends at the Salvation Army. They're doing really good work over there.
All right. KUAM TV, here we come. All right, half a day, everybody. Welcome back to the link. If you're watching us on KUAM TV land, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry, it just doesn't have the same thing. Chris is on vacation. He'll be back soon. I know some people are like, hey, what the heck happened to him? But he's taking a very well-deserved break. The guy works really, really hard. So he's taking a few days of a siesta. But you've got Jason, Sabrina's over there, DJ Joser making us look good and sound good, and then making his glorious return in back of the boards, Mr. One Micronesia Podcast, Victorious Falan. How you doing, brother?
Half a day. Doing good. It's always nice to jump back on the show and just chill with you guys and do the show with you guys. It's always fun.
Okay, well, I have something real quick to ask you, because last year when you joined us for the holiday season, you were actually sharing this, there was a TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those duet things where, you know, you actually react and kind of like perform, if you will, like on you know, beside another video, and you actually found a really touching video that impacted you in a very emotional way back from your home in Yap State, where they set up the very first Christmas display, right?
They did, and Jay's growing up, Christmas was something big back. It's always big with everybody, right? But even though back home, I know my parents, my uncles and aunties would do all these gifts exchange, and then the Christmas lights will go up, the Christmas tree will go up. But then as time goes on, and as I grew, like all those just kind of like it went down to just Christmas party. That's it. Like Christmas lights, we barely had Christmas lights.
Wow.
So growing up and went to high school, went back home, worked back home for another 5 years. Like Christmas, you barely see Christmas lights, and if you see it, it's like, okay, all right, those guys have Christmas lights. So when they did something like this, and they set up the whole, it's the Yap Museum where they have the three Yappies house, Yappies men's house. So one dude, and just to find out that he actually ordered a whole set of lights. He funded it himself. Wow. And then the government, the YVB, Yap Visitor Bureau, saw that he was doing it, so they gave him more funds to get more lights. And it went from lights to like the inflatables, and it was just an amazing setup that. Like at night when you pass by, it's just a different look for Yap, and it's something that when I saw it, it was like a lot of joy in me, and I'm like, wow, imagine if I was a kid and something like that was there, and I'm like, wow, man, it was just so nice to see. So when I saw it on TikTok, I had to do a side-by-side duet and react to it, and it was just really this is a happy time for me.
Do you know, even though we're about a month out from Christmas, but obviously, like, you know, people all over the world are starting to put up, you know, their displays and everything. Is there any indication that they're going to do that again?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to reach out to the guy. I know him. It's a relative as well, so I'll reach out to him and probably get him on the podcast and see how it all went last year and see what he has in plan. Hopefully, more bigger setup this year.
That would be sweet, because I remember that TikTok, and Vic is such like a chill, positive guy. Everybody knows that, like how much energy you bring, and like all the daps you can do and everything. But I've actually never really seen you that genuinely like emotional, and you can see they were tears of joy, because that's home.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, like all those years that I grew up and not seeing a Christmas light, and then just seeing that one place just go into like. So it was just a bright one of those bright spots in Yap during the holidays last year. So it was really emotional for me. So
right on. Well, that was great. And I know we're going to be doing something, Bree, also with news, because of course, celebrating the creativity, the originality, the over the topness, and that's a really good thing about how locals like actually decorate their house and like get holiday displays ready like that. So we're going to be celebrating you guys, and if you guys have really awesome displays in your house, in your neighborhood, and everything like that, make sure to DM us to it. I mean, we'd be happy to show off, you know, what you and your family come up with.
Right, and as a pre-holiday gift, we understand that the governor is going to be making a major announcement at 11:30. We're all waiting to see what she's going to say. We're going to be streaming it live.
No, that's a segue.
right on our Facebook page. But in the meantime, let's get into the news. The Joint Information Center reports the island recorded 2 COVID-19 related fatalities. The 261st occurring at GRMC on the 17th. The patient was a 40-year-old female. She was unvaccinated with underlying health conditions. She tested positive on October 23rd. The 267th second occurred at GMH on November 18th. The patient was a 58-year-old man. He was unvaccinated with underlying health conditions. He tested positive on November 18th. 28 people hospitalized for COVID. There are also 2 pediatric admissions, 4 patients receiving ICU level of care, 1 on a ventilator. Out of the 28 hospitalizations, 19 vaccinated, 11 unvaccinated. Public Health reports 25 new cases of COVID. Out of 808 tests performed on the 17th, 8 cases were identified through contact tracing. To date, there have been a total of 19,040 officially reported cases of COVID since March of last year. 1,838 cases are in isolation, and 16,940 people have recovered. The CAR score, 2.5. As of November 17th, a total of 124,783 of Guam's eligible population, this is residents 5 years and older, are fully vaccinated. As for booster shots, the following have been administered: 14,173 doses of Pfizer, 7,275 doses of Moderna, 184 doses of Johnson & Johnson. According to the Guam Department of Education's daily COVID-19 report, there are 4 new positive student cases. They were identified at Harry S. Truman Elementary, PC Lujan Elementary, Ocean View Middle School, and George Washington High School. There were no positive cases among GDOE employees reported. Meantime, in the CNMI, they report 23 people confirmed positive for COVID from travel and surveillance testing on the 17th. There are now 66 active cases. Of the 140 new cases since October 28th, 92 were identified through contact tracing, 38 community testing, 10 through travel testing. The CNMI conducted a total of 744 tests on the 17th. The total case count since March of last year is now 431. The CNMI officially released an update to its entry protocol, which goes into effect today. Here is Tomas Menglotnya with a preview.
After nearly 2 years of its strict travel entry protocol, major changes will take place in the NMI on Friday. According to the CNMI Office of the Governor, effective November 19, all incoming domestic travelers should provide contact information through the mandatory health declaration form, and quarantine will be based on the vaccination status of both the traveler and their household. The updated travel protocol includes travelers who are fully vaccinated and verified to be staying in a fully vaccinated household or lodging area are not required to quarantine, but will be tested for COVID-19 between 3 to 5 days of their stay, which will be based on their departure date. If the traveler is staying less than 5 days, their contacts will also be required to test for COVID-19. Fully vaccinated travelers who are not residing in a fully vaccinated household or lodging area must undergo a 5-day quarantine in a government facility and be tested after, which also applies to travelers residing with children ineligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. Unvaccinated travelers are still required to quarantine in a government facility for 7 days and test on their last day. Any traveler who tests positive for COVID-19 will be put in isolation at a government facility for 10 days. Travelers will have to upload their list of contacts and proof of vaccination in the health declaration form. If they are vaccinated outside of the CNMI, a secondary verification is needed. Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News on Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. More Americans may soon be eligible to get COVID vaccine booster shots, and the Biden administration announced it has purchased 10 million courses of Pfizer's experimental COVID antiviral drug. Anthony Pura has the latest.
FDA authorization for a Pfizer booster shot for all adults could come at any time. The drug maker filed for authorization last week. The CDC would still need to sign off on the plan.
CDC will quickly review the safety and effectiveness data and make recommendations as soon as we hear from FDA.
Some states aren't waiting. This morning, Massachusetts became the latest one to approve boosters for anyone over 18.
If you were already vaccinated 6 months or more ago and eligible for a boost, get a boost.
The move comes as breakthrough infections surge across the country. Minnesota is one of the hot spots.
All 13 beds are COVID again. Looks just like it did a year ago, in December.
And while the main focus remains on vaccination, President Biden announced his administration has purchased 10 million courses of Pfizer's antiviral COVID-19 pill, Paxlovid, to reduce the risk of severe illness for people infected with COVID. The drug still needs FDA authorization. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
With more news now, here is Isaiah again.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Hawaiian Sinamai, Guahusi, Isaiah again, and here's what's making news on Guam. Governor Lulian Guerrero is back from her trip to New York City and to the nation's capital, where she was present for the historic signing of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Here's more. The governor says the purpose of her trip to New York was to share the Guam story with ratings agencies Moody's and Standard & Poor's.
Our goal was to have a improved grading. We're seeking for an investment grade from Moody's, and we're seeking for a higher level of grading from the S&P. What that means then and how that impacts our people and our island is that if we have a investment grade rating, we would be able to entice and attract more investors. Therefore, we are able to have more access to capital in the market. And as a result, we would decrease our interest rates and have millions of savings for our people and for our island, so that we can use those savings to better improve our lives in all areas: public safety, education, health, utilities, infrastructure, all our daily needs, to make sure we provide for our family and to improve our quality of life.
The governor and her fiscal team are hoping to get feedback in about 6 to 8 weeks. As for her trip to D.C., she says she was one of 10 governors invited to attend the signing ceremony. In total, Guam is expected to receive up to $193 million that will be used to improve roads, transportation, the airport and port, water infrastructure, cybersecurity, as well as broadband infrastructure. In terms of when Guam should anticipate receiving the funds, the governor says she will be heading off island later this month to get a better idea of when will that happen.
One of the things that I'm going to be going to in November 30th, 2 weeks from now, Isaiah, is a summit that the National Governors Association is hosting. And in that summit, the secretaries of these various agencies like Transportation, the Department of Interior, the Department of Commerce, and so forth, are going to be there presenting a detailed explanation of the infrastructure bill. And I expect during that period of time that we will be informed of what exactly the process would be and when we expect it.
As for the Build Back Better Act before Congress, the governor says she's been working to ensure funding for Guam's remain intact. As we reported, included in the BBB is $345 million for a new hospital. The governor clarified today that even if funding is secured in the measure, she will set aside the $300 million in ARP funds for the billion-dollar healthcare complex in the Eagles Field area in Manilao. At Thursday's Public Health COVID-19 press briefing, DPHSS gave the latest on the CDC team on Guam, the decline in COVID cases, vaccinations for kids 5 and older, and the easing of restrictions. KUAM's Daniel Perez reports.
According to territorial epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pobutsky, the positivity rate has gone down and everything is on the decrease.
The number of cases per day continues to decrease. We're now below 40 cases per day. We'd like that to get even smaller, like we were back in March and April, where it was like 5 to 10 cases a day. The CAR score is below 5, and the 7-day rolling average of cases, again, has gone down to less than 40 per day. All age groups are showing continued decreases along with the cases. The one group that's still a little high is that 0 to 11 age group, because they're the last group to be vaccinated.
Dr. Pabutsky added that the island-wide hospital COVID count has dropped in the last couple of weeks, along with less people in the ICU and deaths. As for the CDC team looking into the island's dead-on-arrival cases,
we are providing our data to them on the deaths and the cases, and especially the dead on arrivals, and they are conducting interviews with the families of people who were dead on arrival. And I believe they're also going to be requesting hospital data. So basically, they're in a data gathering phase, and that's going to take a while.
Public Health also confirmed that as of yesterday, 1,281 children have received the Pfizer pediatric vaccine, and there are just over 4,500 doses left. Interim Chief Medical Officer Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero.
Please, if you qualify, please get your booster shot. If you qualify. And then those that have kids, children 5 to 11 years old, please get your children vaccinated. It will help tremendously in us avoiding surges and get us back to where we want to be with less restrictions.
As for the easing of restrictions,
I understand that there might be some lifting of some restrictions, but I don't know that for sure. My guess is that though that they're still going to require that they have at least one dose of the vaccine. But the actual details, I don't really know what that's going to be.
There will be a vaccination clinic for children sponsored by the American Medical Center on Saturday, November 20th at the FD Phoenix Center from 4 to 7 p.m. and is open to the public. To schedule an appointment, go to guamcovid.com. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
The Guam Police Department is investigating a burglary that occurred at Macy's. According to acting police spokesperson Berlin Sevilla, patrol officers from the Dededo precinct responded to the department store at around 8 o'clock Thursday morning. The suspect or suspects gained entry through the front door. According to Sevilla, it appears the store's alarms were not triggered, and the department store staff is trying to determine why they were not activated. The suspect or suspects got away with an undetermined amount of cash. No one has been arrested at this time. If you have information about the burglary at Macy's, you're urged to call GPD at 671-472-8911. A jogger was attacked at the Dededo Sports Complex. According to GPD, the incident occurred on Wednesday around 5 p.m. The victim was jogging when a man confronted him. The suspect tried to grab his cell phone, but there was a struggle. The victim's hand was injured, and the suspect ran off toward the pipeline area. The suspect is described as 5'6" to 5'7", medium build, dark complexion, wearing possibly a shirt or hat over his head, a black long sleeve hoodie, and shorts. If you have any information, call 671-472-8911. Department of Revenue and Taxation Acting Director Marie Lozama confirmed the agency has processed more than 19,000 advanced child tax credit payments totaling $12.5 million for the month of November. The payments are all being made through paper checks. Lozama confirms the agency is not conducting direct deposits at this time as they work to finalize corrections with applications that were submitted with an erroneous bank account information. Recipients should anticipate receiving their ACTC payments in the mail within 2 weeks. That's it for now. We'll see you tonight for KUAM News Primetime.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Thanks, Isaiah. For several hours, the Department of Land Management and the Ancestral Lands Commission appeared before senators for an oversight hearing. Speaker Therese Terlahi called the hearing to get to the bottom of the status of recent or pending transfers, deeds, leases, or licenses between the government of Guam and the federal government, including the Department of Defense. One of the biggest issues discussed was a property at Eagles Field in Manilao. Now, this is the land that the governor wants to build her billion-dollar healthcare complex. As reported, this property is up for potential transfer. It is about 102 acres. The governor in a previous interview said the military will provide a license to access the land by the end of this year. Then next year, she expects to sign a lease agreement. Several original landowners and heirs of this property testified last night, urging the governor to return their land to them.
I grew up around what is now known as the Eagles Field. I recall my grandfather, my father, his siblings, Ramon, Francisco, and Trinidad, were all farming around the Eagles Fields area. They raised all sorts of crops: corn, coffee, taro, yam, sweet potato, breadfruit, assorted bananas, papaya, guava, tangerine, orange, avocado, lemon, sour sap, and animals: chicken, goats, pigs, carabao, which was their main source of livelihood. My father's brother, Jose, had joined the military and left the island. As for Jesus, he resided in Asan. At the age of 7 years old, my father told us that we had to vacate our farmland because the military is moving in. My grandfather and Aunt Pida trailered their house to Agana, where the former Rodis is at. Next to that is my grandfather's property. Uncle Frank trailered his house to Tamuning by the former St. Anthony Church. Tundamon trailered his house to the All Price Road in Manila. My father trailered our house to our present location, Sada Street, which is just a few distance down the road across the Eagles Field. Vacating our farmland and having to relocate was very emotional. It separated the family bonding between my grandfather, my father, and his siblings. It was a big loss to our family's livelihood. We have no choice but to start over with what little we have. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, please accept the intention of the Navy Secretary Kenneth Braithwaite to declare as excess land property it condemned from 18 families decades ago at and surrounding Eagles Fields in Manila. Once declared excess and returned by Congress, consistent with Public Law 25-45, it should be returned to the heirs and the pre-condemnation owners or the ancestral land owners. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, please do not try to circumvent Public Law 25-45 by leasing it from the Navy for 100 years. This land, our land, was condemned decades ago. If you're looking to build a new hospital, why not use the Oka Point in Tamuning? That land in Tamuning is available, ready for construction of a new hospital and will possibly be more cost-effective. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, please request that Navy Secretary Kenneth Braithwaite to proceed with the process of returning declared excess land it condemned from the 18 families decades ago at and surrounding Eagles Field in Manila, which at present phrase is not under public use. Magahaga por favor azudaham. Hasu isanata siya ni Manaygwi isinatsaga zan minatpuniha za kita ni tautotano itzamoru not gaminan. The people of the land por favor magahaga azudaham. Si Zeus masi hamzut todos dininwahu zani maniluhu zan ipalo na familia siya. Zahola mohon na inazudaham. Por favor. Thank you.
Again, that was one of the original landowners, one of the heirs to the property at Eagles Field, where the governor is planning to build the $1 billion healthcare complex. Now, Guam law states properties returned to GovGuam from the federal government are to be returned to original landowners. However, according to Guam Ancestral Lands Director John Birch, in the event returned lands are kept by GovGuam for continued public benefit, original landowners or their heirs are to be compensated via the land bank. With your news in Chamorro, here's Kin Concepcion.
Buenos updates to get some to be tuned tomorrow in the KUAM News. Present ni Familian Mito, the First Hawaiian Bank. Akonfirma segundo direktor di Department of Revenue and Taxation si Marie Lizama na adyo na ahensya sa ma-process maski 19 mil na Advanced Child Tax Credit na APAS no atutot 12.5 milyon pesos para November na mes. Adyo siya na inapa sa entry check siya. Akonfirma mo si Lizama na revenue and tax at timatutog direktamento na deposita para banko sa mafatututso ikiniri na aplikasyon siya no masubmiti sa lahat na informasyon gi izon niya account. Adyo mo na nag-check niya para ST sa sina maresibi gi email entry 2 semana na tempo. Mas asunto, may bisitiga ni Guam Police adyo sinaki gi emails na tenda. Sigon ni spokesperson para GPD si Berlin Savilla, man marespondi polisiya gini Dedido Precinct para gati guihi gi alas 8 gi egan Webes. Itumogo esti sa manhalam gi itenda gi ipetan mo na. Ilanya si Savilla na kulanti mamatsetsetsu i-alarm gi itenda. Mas pipian ni lanero siya guihi afa na tay guini. Masaki sa lapil o timatungo kwanto na kantida. Taza mareresta esta pago por esti. Como guan information mo por esti na sinakin meses na tenda. Akan por favori 472-8911. Yuto mo na sunto para pago na betnes gifinut sa moro gin ni KUAM News. Mataka uno na jogger guihi gi Dededo Sports Complex. Ma-report ni GPD na masusedi esti gi las 5 gi pupengin Merkulis. Ibigta ba sa umafana ni un tauto ni kitsa gi humako di zona cellphone. Sa umafalu idos. Mamatsano di kanay na ibigta sa malago isaki esta guati gi pipeline area na lugar. Ima suspetpetsa sa 5P 5.6 podgadas na lineka mediano tataw-taw niya at tulong lasas niya dasina at sinina patuhong gi ilu niya anako manggas niya na hudi ng kasunis kadada. Como Guam information mo por esti, hagan por favor 472-8911 para Guam News Network, Gualsikin Conception. Yasuto gifinut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafatto ni Familia Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
8:24. On to our next segment. And this one pretty kind of weird because I get to watch myself eat. So we're gonna go down. It's our segment called Feed Me Fridays. Have a look.
It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link, brought to you by King's Restaurants, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Devondale.
Hey guys, and we're back with another one. I'm so grateful that I was chosen to come down here, and also with me to share the meal, the one, the only, KYM News is Hannah Devonzo. Hannah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to try all this stuff. Looks great.
I'm excited too. So this is the second time we're trying this. Bree and Chris had this last week, and they just want to keep pushing this because this is their Thanksgiving special, their 3-course holiday set.
Okay.
So they were like, come back down, bring fresh faces, let them try it out. We want the people to get different takes on, that way they're like, oh, I think Chris was just faking it. No, he was real. But then we're here to kind of put a stamp on it, like, no,
yes.
This is for real. Good. So yeah, 3-course. I hope you're hungry because we're about to dig in.
Sounds good. Excited to try it.
All right,
so what is the first thing that we have
So
here?
the first thing is the pumpkin bisque.
Okay.
Hope I said that correctly. Yep, I'm well known at K1 for mispronouncing everything. So this is the pumpkin bisque. I was just talking to Mike about this. I've never had pumpkin as a soup.
I haven't either. I have never tried it.
There you go. First time for both of us. Oh my God.
That's good. That is really good.
Ooh. You can taste the pumpkin.
It has like a sweet yet salty. Do you taste that sweet in it?
And the salty too. I feel they put a little coconut milk in here. I don't know. I feel there's a, but then do you kind of taste a little curry in there or something?
Yeah,
right?
I do too. It has really good flavor.
Ooh. Ooh. This is good.
That is really good. Usually I've had pumpkin with like sweet things around the holidays, but this is good too, how it has a salty flavor.
That's so, back home in Yap, they serve it up
with, you know, like you said, like sweet, like they just use freshly squeezed coconut milk, and then, you know, add a little sugar to it, and, you know, you have it as a treat. But
yeah,
ooh,
this is yummy.
But as a soup, ooh, definitely must try.
That's good.
Wow, we're gonna be here for a while.
You know, this is so good. I feel like I could do this as an all year round type of soup.
Right? Oh yeah. Have like a little bread or something on the side. Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go, Ruby Tuesday. Ruby Tuesday, like, man, we set the meal already. We're adding the bread as per Vic and Hannah. Oh my God, Hannah, this is so good. Ooh.
That is good. I wasn't sure how I would feel about a pumpkin stew.
Right?
But it's really good.
I just love it. I love it's whatever they put in there.
Yeah.
It makes it so, I don't know. Chris called it filling. I remember watching his video. Yeah. So good, you have to lick the spoon.
And it was cute because did you see like the little hearts they put in it?
I saw that. That was so cool.
Cute.
All right. I'm serious, guys. This is no joke.
Yeah.
This is it.
You have to come try this. So good.
Just eat the soup and then pack the rest and take home. Wow.
That is really yummy.
3-course holiday set.
Yeah.
The pumpkin bisque, guys, must try. If you were to rate it, 1 to 10.
And I'm not really even a soup person like that, and I would say it's like a 9.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty high up there.
Heard it.
And it's not like super strong with the pumpkin. Like you taste it, but it's not overbearing pumpkin.
Right.
You know, it's good.
Like it's that nice taste that you just want to just keep spooning it into your mouth. It's like, oh, I want more. The ASMR. Oh, I hope the mic got that because that was good.
What would you rate it?
I'd give it a 9.5.
Okay.
A 9.5.
That's high.
For the first time I've tried pumpkin soup, I'm giving it a 9.5.
Yeah. Are you a soup person?
I'm a soup person.
Okay,
I'm a soup person. Like I have friends who's like, why are you eating soup in the middle of the day? And it's hot.
And it's
I'm
hot
like,
out
I love soup. That's my thing.
Okay.
I just love soup.
That is good.
Guys, no joke. Hannah, we have so much ahead of us.
Yeah.
So
I know. I want to save my appetite.
I know. I mean, like I said, it's they called it like a light appetizer, and it literally is.
All right, let's see
push
what
it to
else.
the front. Okay, let's jump in. And then this is the main course. Of course, you got your mash here with some corn, and then we have the meatloaf. And right when I saw the picture, I was like, "Oh, meatloaf! Right, I'm ready." But then just to find out in Bree's shoot that it's actually your traditional meatloaf would be ground beef.
Yeah.
But this one they switched it up and they added turkey. I mean, Thanksgiving. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I was
turkey.
so trying. Yeah, as you know, I'm a vegetarian, but happy to break it for turkey for the holiday season.
Okay.
So I'll be a real critic about it.
All right. Okay. Hey. All right. I'm ready to hear what she has to say about this.
So let's
turkey,
try it. I'm gonna start with
meatloaf.
this
Then we got
one.
some beans on the side.
Yeah, and some mashed potatoes.
And then I believe this is the gravy over here.
Yeah.
All right. I always dip in the gravy first
Yeah,
for some
maybe I'll
reason.
put like a little bit on top.
Oh my God.
It's good?
It's so
First
good.
impressions?
It's good. It's like stuffing. They do the stuffing. Turkey stuffing. It's like they made that but into a gravy. Oh my God. Let's dive in.
That's good, yeah.
Ooh, and then they have a little the puree, a little cranberry.
Yeah, I taste that on there. And it has like little veggies in it too.
Ooh, yes, I believe there's corn, carrots in there, carrots. We got some beans.
That's good. Coming from a vegetarian, that's good.
Ooh. I wonder why they sent us back here to retry this meal because it's that good. I don't know about you, but it's melting in my mouth.
Yeah. Super flavorful. I like that they put that cranberry sauce on it.
Right?
Like balances out that sweet and savory mix.
She knows her food. She knows it. I'm gonna get some of that cranberry right here. Ooh.
Did you try the mashed potatoes yet?
Not yet.
I'm gonna try
About
that.
to jump in. Some of that beans.
They even put corn inside of the mashed potatoes. That was good. All right.
Wow. Oh my God.
Really good, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Perfect. I love Thanksgiving food. Like,
right?
It's my favorite holiday.
This is something else. Ruby Tuesday, you guys outdid yourself.
Oh, and we did the drinks. The
Oh
drinks.
my God,
We forgot the drinks. Okay. The drink blew me away.
Okay.
I got the Blackberry Lemonade, and you got, which one was
The
that?
mango.
So good. I will say that I've never had a drink from a restaurant that good before.
Real?
Yeah.
You say it's nice, it's refreshing, but you have that, it's a good balance of, you know, your water ratio to, that's good. Oh, yes. Oh, to wash it down, that's it. All right, Hannah. The first two were amazing.
Yeah.
That soup, and then we had that main course. Oh my God, so filling.
I'm already stuffed, but I'll make room for this.
All right, but we had to make room for this. So this is the pumpkin cake roll.
Okay.
Hope I said it right. Yeah. So this is obviously a 3-course. You're gonna end it with something sweet, something to kind of give you that nice little punch at the end of like, hey, you did a good job. Here's something sweet for you.
Okay, let's try it.
All right. Let's dive in. Okay. I'm a big cake person.
Me too.
Oh, okay.
So I have
all right.
high expectations
Ooh,
for this.
all right.
That is really good, isn't it?
Mm.
It's like not overwhelmingly sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, because some cakes are way too sweet.
Yeah. Wow. And that filling though, that pumpkin filling. Oh my God.
It kind of tastes like a pumpkin pie, like in a cake though.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? We'll make it into a cake.
Yeah.
And just the way they serve it itself, it's so beautiful. How they decorate the plate with that little spoon. I call it the spoon splash. And then they have a little maple leaf.
The presentation was great. Great presentation.
Wow.
And it tastes good too.
Let me get some of that. So I kind of said, it's not overwhelmingly sweet, you know?
Yeah,
it gives
just
you
the
that.
right amount.
Yep. I love it.
It is really good.
Way to close off a 3-set holiday special here. Wow. All right, guys. We've had a great time here at Ruby Tuesday. We got a shout out to the crew here for having us. Stop on by. I mean, holidays right around the corner. I mean, we're looking at Thanksgiving coming up soon. So if you don't have plans, come to Ruby Tuesday because they definitely got you with this 3-course set meal. Wow, Hannah, thank you again for joining me.
Of course, thanks for inviting me.
All right, guys, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link, brought to you by King's Restaurants, Ruby Tuesday, Guam, and Devondale.
That's some good stuff. You know, Chris
I can't believe we
tried
took 5 minutes to eat soup.
Hey, but that soup was
It was
bomb.
good. It was
good.
good. No joke. I've never had pumpkin soup in my life. And that was the first time I had it. I was like, whoa.
There are like Michelin 5-star restaurants that have not had their soup complimented as much as you and Hannah like had good things to do about that soup. Wait, can you talked about it like at length there, but how really good was that pumpkin bisque? Because it looked really good.
Jace, it's good.
Creamy.
Good. Like
9.5.
Yeah, I know you had it too.
It's really good.
It's
good. I like bisque too.
Yeah, like Hannah was mentioning, it's sweet, but it's salty. It's just like a perfect balance of both worlds. And then the pumpkin.
And as good as the food one, it seemed like once Hannah tried that drink, it was like, all right.
Yeah, she was in love with more of the drink, but she had a great time.
3 different courses in front of you. She's like, oh, drink.
Right. Perfect blend. So let's go into. No. Yeah, one Micronesia. Vic?
Oh, so we got a double shot of Vic today.
Yeah.
Wow. So yes, this one I was so fortunate enough to have her on. Her name is Selena Lam, the first ever Marshallese on to come on the One Micronesia podcast. So that was pretty cool. And she's doing so much when it comes to climate change. She's an activist. So I had a really good sit down and talk with her. So let's hear a piece and then we'll continue on.
The One Micronesia Update is presented by Taco Bell and Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Let's talk about when it comes to climate change. How is it affecting the Marshall Islands right now?
The Marshall Islands are on average 2 meters above sea level. That's about 6 feet or more. And when we get inundations and king tides, so these are when the tides are at their highest, you will see seawalls that have been built to be above the land. You'll see these waves rise and go above these seawalls and just rush into the land. And because we're so small, there's so many parts of the island, at least on Midero, where I was born and raised, that's also the capital. You can stand in the middle and you'll see both the ocean and the lagoon side. And during these moments, that's when you realize just how vulnerable your country and your people are, especially in the face of all these this crisis. And sure, we've experienced inundations before, we've had droughts before, but because of the crisis, a lot of these natural patterns have become even more exacerbated and happening too frequently, and in a state that my country is not able to keep up with. And because we also have very little resources, it just puts us in an even more precarious situation. And so it just makes sense that we would be very vocal about the crisis that's happening in our country, especially in these international spaces, because it's so easy, so easy to have all these big countries trump over us. But when you take this opportunity to I shouldn't say that word. When you take these the situation that you're in, and instead of being left despondent about it, you realize, okay, I can do something about this. I have a voice, and this is a platform that I can use that voice in. It's definitely not easy. There's going to be a lot of shut doors, but with help from civil society, all of us people, all the NGOs, any kind of entities or individual that is out there that you feel are in the same cause as you, they will see what you're going through, and they will feel the passion and the resilience, as well as the desperation that you're experiencing, because they too will also be experiencing or are already experiencing the same thing, but it's just a different phase. We're with sea level rising and droughts, whereas they have wildfires and all these other disasters that are happening. And so it's a collective effort, and all of that has really propelled us to be at the state that we are in today.
The One Micronesia Update is presented by Taco Bell and Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutters, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Say hello to the first Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With MoneyMap, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light, or when it's time to slow down. Maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be. With MoneyMap from the first Hawaiian Bank mobile app. It all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC.
We all know that a healthy lifestyle is important to prevent chronic diseases and long-term illnesses and boost mental health. It's difficult to determine exactly which healthy habits are worth investing in to live longer and healthier lives. But FHP is here to help. Tune into The Link every Tuesday for FHP Hatha Health Tips, brought to you by Take Care. Helpful advice about healthy lifestyle choices that will have a big difference in your health from the medical experts at FHP Clinic. FHP Hatha Health Tips on The Link every Tuesday is brought to you by Take Care.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications. Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi. That's what I like.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KUAM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
The Culture Club returns to KUAM Digital and KUAM News Weekend Edition, highlighting Guam's young artists, activists, and crafters as they work to protect, preserve, and promote our Tamoto culture. Watch this weekly feature on the digital platforms of KUAM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
All right, welcome back to The Link, everybody. We're going to continue and wrap up our week-long, very, very informative series on diabetes. That's coming up at 9, and you guys really want to get your questions in because we will have experts in various fields of technology, medical treatment, insurance, diagnosis, what have you, and everything. No question is too silly and everything like that. So please, if you have any questions at all, it's going to be an interactive form, and you're really going to enjoy what we have coming up. But until we get to that point, Bree, there is an opportunity for people looking for a very rewarding career coming up this weekend.
Yes, definitely. A lot of things actually are happening this weekend. The Guam Department of Education, they are holding a job fair. This is an in-person job fair. So if you're looking for a job, please make sure to head on over to Ukudu High School in Dededo. This job fair is scheduled for tomorrow. It is 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You are encouraged and urged. You have to pre-register prior to attending this job fair. Again, tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ukudu High School. They're looking to hire a community program aide ones. That's $10.14 an hour. Community program aide 2, $11.89 an hour. On-call substitute teacher ones for $11.14 an hour. They're looking for school aides part-time at $10.14. Again, you have to pre-register. We'll post the QR code on our website where you can do the application. Some quick tips for you on your employment application include the month and year for your present or past employment history, include hours worked per week. You can attach a job resume. You can apply for more than one position, but you must fill out one application for each position for which you'd like to apply. Don't forget, you have to have a copy of your high school diploma or GED certificate. This is required for all of the positions that you're applying for. At the job fair, when you do go in person, dress for the on-site interview. You will be meeting multiple school principals and project directors, depending on the position which you're applying for.
Wow, you're going to meet with the principal directly.
Yeah.
That's the only time you actually want to be sent to the principal.
Right. Pick up a job interview referral for each position. Note that you may not meet the minimum qualifications for all the positions. The deadline to submit your applications for this job fair, which again is scheduled for tomorrow, is today at 5 p.m. If you have any questions, you can email GDOE's Human Resources Office at humanresources@gdoe.net. Or, this is easier, info@gdoe.net.
There we go.
Again, that in-person job fair is scheduled for tomorrow at Ukadu High School, starting at 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Also scheduled for tomorrow is a children's vaccine clinic that's being hosted by American Medical Center. That is being held at the Father Duenas Memorial School, the Phoenix Center. That is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 p.m. They're going to be offering the, of course, Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, and this is, again, 5 to 11 years old. It's a children's vaccine, so if you want to get your child vaccinated, please go there and get them the shot. Other things that are happening this weekend, there is a community cleanup, a Zero Down and Gilbaza event. That is from 7 to 11 o'clock in the morning. This is open to the public. Residents of Gilbaza, Zero Down, and other volunteers of the community, they're welcome to come down for this community beautification day. They're going to be giving out special gifts to the first 30 volunteers. They will be supplying water, gloves, and trash bags, but you're asked to bring a water bottle, mask, hat, and good vibes. Again, this is at Zero Down, the bus stop there. This is being hosted by the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance. Again, this is a community cleanup, 7 to 11 o'clock in the morning. Also, we got the invitation from the governor's office for the press conference. It's being held at 11:30, which we will be streaming live on our Facebook page at that time. And we did get a release from the Guam Freedom Coalition. They're holding a public forum. This is tomorrow, so I'm not sure if it's still going to be held or not, but they're holding a public forum at the Tamuning Mayor's Office Park starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. According to the release that we received, it's to allow an open dialogue between concerned citizens and their elected representatives. Invitations are sent out to all senators. Dr. Nathaniel Berg, who of course is the head of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Also part of the PAG, and they invited public health. They are advocates for the personal freedoms, civil liberties, and holiday spirit of all people and communities on Guam, and they aim to promote accountability and transparency of the government while supporting the inalienable rights of the people to act, move, and live freely on Guam as afforded to us by God and protected by the U.S. Constitution. And this is from the press release that I'm reading that states that we were founded to unite everyone who's been affected by this administration's overreach of authority during this extended emergency and the subsequent executive orders and mandates that were designed to segregate and discriminate. Again, they are having this public forum. It is scheduled for tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The governor, in the meantime, she's holding a press conference today at 11:30 to sign another executive order related to the easing of restrictions. So a lot going on.
And again, that's very, very timely because, of course, the big event coming up is next Thursday is going to be Thanksgiving. Of course, the day after is Black Friday, which is generally seen as the biggest retail shopping day of the year. So a lot of the island's shops and stores have a lot to gain from that. And also, if they were to make some big announcement today that would allow for greater movement, fewer restrictions, and everything like that, obviously island residents are going to go out and make Thanksgiving preparations, I would assume. How long does it really take to cook a turkey?
Hours. I mean, well, the prep work that goes into it. I mean, especially if it's frozen, you got to defrost it, so that takes a while. And then,
but usually about a day, right? Or do you make your Thanksgiving turkey like the day of for Thanksgiving dinner, or do you do it like
I think I've only done a turkey one time in my entire life.
I've always wanted to participate, though. Because they talk about the process, right?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to participate from start to finish because I want to experience that whole process of making a turkey. And then you have the stuffings and you got the other stuff, the cranberries and everything. So I've always wanted to participate in to make
It's
a
long-
full
yeah, it's a long
full
process.
spread.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we had Thanksgiving at Sabrina's old apartment years and years ago, and like everybody in the news and production, and that's why I'm asking, because what we basically put the news together, and then everybody that was on the production crew went over to your house. You'd been cooking since like 7 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, there's Mindy,
Yana Person, Mindy Uggan, like that's old school KUM. But yeah, you guys were at it for a while.
Yeah, I tried to barbecue. I remember that. That was like my first time trying to barbecue, and I did it. I had no clue. So I just lit the fire, and I thought, okay, this is ready. And I just threw on the meat, and then when everybody started to eat the meat, they're like, this is raw. It's burnt, and it's raw. Oh, man. Yeah, so I didn't know you had to let the fire cool down. I just thought, it's...
But again, even if people don't start preparing the turkey, you would assume that a lot of people are going to go to, to the supermarkets, to Cost You Less, to Kmart and everything like that, and start buying, turkey, because they're not going to get it like, the night before. I mean, it still is a work week for most of us, like next week.
And even with that,
I might.
And even with that, I think, because with all these preparations towards Thanksgiving, you have the reservations too. You have to make it weeks. Like I'm pretty sure people are calling today for next week, because as we get closer and closer, the hotels are just going to have like a cutoff list.
Yeah, or for our friends at like Salvation Army. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, hey, I'd like to, like make in-kind donations and everything like that. And again, you can't just like run out, a couple of hours before and do that. But again, so we've got the capstone project, if you will, on our week-long diabetes partnership with our friends at AI Health and Guam Regional Medical City and Calvo Select Care and Paradise Fitness, where we have been giving you information that we really, really hope you take to heart. Share with your family, share with your friends, because it is stuff that is literally going to save your life and the lives of others. That's coming up at the top of the hour. But tell you what, let's play some music.
Why not?
For
Let's
you.
go.
It is a Friday, payday for most of you, so let's get you in the island groove frame of mind. So Vic, who we got today?
Today we have a young up-and-coming hip-hop and R&B artist. His name is Claude, for Cover Me, being brought to you by Burger King. Remember, stop on by Burger King and try out their Ghost Pepper Chicken Nuggets, because it's there. And if you like heat, definitely want to try it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm floating right up to the sky. So many homies that left me alone, but I never paid no mind. I just been focused on me, yeah, focused up on my grind. Cause I know one day they gon' realize they should've just stayed in my life. I feel like I'm floating right up to the sky. So many homies that left me alone, but I never paid no mind. I just been focused on me, yeah, focused up on my grind. Cause I know one day they gon' realize they should've just stayed in my life, yeah. Big moves, money moves, that is the way that I move. Always win, always learn, you won't ever see me lose. If I fall down once, I'ma get back too. Yeah, I feel like I'm floating right up to the sky. So many homies that left me alone, but I never paid no mind. I just been focused on me, yeah, focused up on my grind. Cause I know one day they gon' realize they should've just stayed in my life. I feel like I'm floating right up to the sky. So many homies that left me alone, but I never paid no mind. I just been focused on me, yeah, focused up on my grind. Cause I know one day they gon' realize they should've just stayed in my life, yeah.
The Culture Club returns to KUM Digital and KUM News Weekend Edition, highlighting Guam's young artists, activists, and crafters as they work to protect, preserve, and promote our Tamoto culture. Watch this weekly feature on the digital platforms of KUM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Half a day. My name is Jesse Allig, and I'm the mayor of the beautiful village of Piti and the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam. Our mayors and vice mayors work on resolving many different issues throughout the day. Now, we're focusing our efforts to recruit 19 new foster families. The numbers vary, but we have hundreds of our own neglected and abused children in need of a home. Antifina Tanatongo, a veteran foster mom, says, all you need is love. If you have a little room in your home and a lot of love in your heart, please join our campaign trail and call the mayor's office to find out how you can become a foster mom or dad. Help us give our children the gift of family.
Looking for TV schedules, upcoming sports, or special presentations, or what you may have missed over the busy week you had? Well, look no further than KUAM Digital Digest. This weekly emailed newsletter puts all kinds of information in the hands of subscribers each and every week. Just subscribe and we will make sure you keep up with your favorites and stay informed and entertained throughout it all. Go to KUAM.com, click on the newsletter tab, give us your email address, and you are all set. Brought to you in digital partnership with King's Restaurant and Ruby Tuesday Guam. It's the KUAM Digital Digest, your weekly guide to the latest information and best entertainment on the stations and platforms of KUAM.
1 in 6 people on Guam are affected by diabetes. The terrible impact of the disease on the island has only been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic, as many of those hospitalized and those we've lost had pre-existing underlying conditions like diabetes. As November is Diabetes Awareness Month, KUAM News has partnered with AI Health to raise awareness for this disease that affects so many of us and to showcase a number of ways to prevent, treat, and care for those with diabetes. Join us for AI Health's A Healthier You, Making Diabetes History on Guam, a multi-platform campaign on KUAM Communications, including a 6-part series on KUAM News Primetime and Weekend Edition, and our digital media platforms kicking off on World Diabetes Day, Sunday, November 14th. Daily interviews with expert panelists on the link beginning November 15th, and a special interactive town hall meeting on the link with experts from AI Health, with more information on their diabetes validation study and a new level of precision care that aims to create a healthier Guam. A Healthier You, Making Diabetes History on Guam. A look at how diet, exercise, and technological advances in disease monitoring and medical care can have a positive impact on our community.
The Healthier You series on KUAM News is presented in partnership with Calvo Select Care and Paradise Fitness Center.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutters, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC. Let's get merry during the most wonderful time of the year by making spirits bright. KUAM Communications and Coast 360 want to highlight your decorations and lights by flooding the social media pages of KUAM with your videos and photos. Finish your holiday setup, snap a few shots or video of your delightful display, and send it to us through social media or email them to promotions@KUAM.com. Check out our posts every Friday or tune in to KUAM News Weekend Edition for a special montage of the submissions certain to be making spirits bright with every broadcast. Warmest holiday wishes from KUAM Communications and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
The KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts from our island and region, including culture, lifestyle, awareness, crime, politics, commentary, comedy, and entertainment. Available on most streaming platforms. The KUAM Podcast Network. Subscribe and listen now.
This holiday season, we're once again bringing together the island's largest array of local vendors for a special innovative way for you to shop, broadcast, and go digital with Team KUAM. Join us on Sunday, November 28th for the annual Christmas Pops Virtual Holiday Market at 12 noon on KUAM TV8 and the KUAM News Facebook page, plus additional showtimes through December 11th. We'll also be featuring vendors daily with posts with QR codes and links on our social media pages beginning Monday, November 29th, and hosting an exclusive Christmas Pops website for your one-stop shopping. It's a safe and convenient way for you to shop local this holiday season. To reserve your spot, email promotions@KUAM.com today. Virtual space is limited.
Presented by UOG School of Business and Public Administration, JA Guam, inspiring youth, and the Guam Visitors Bureau, making Guam a better place to live, work, and visit.
A healthier you, making diabetes history on Guam.
Presented in partnership with Calvo Select Care and Paradise Fitness Center.
All right, everybody, welcome back to The Link on this Friday. And we saved the very, very best for last because, as you know, all week long we have introduced you to learned professionals, people involved in the insurance industry, in medicine, in education, in treatment, and in diagnosis of diabetes, certainly a disease that has touched the lives of many, many island residents here on Guam. And we have brought them to you, their insight, their perspective, their expertise, and now we are all joined here together, as we do on Guam, gathered around the table, if you will. It's an early Thanksgiving here on The Link, and we have a special town hall, and this is completely interactive, everybody. So if you have any questions whatsoever about diabetes, about the validation study we're going to talk today here, or anything about the treatment or anything under the sun about diabetes, please put them in the comments below on Facebook, and we will be happy to entertain them for you. So we will be talking about the validation study first, but let me go ahead and reintroduce some of the fine people we have here, all the way from Calvo Select Care right here on the island. Of course, my good friend Frank Campillo, the plan administrator over at Calvo Select Care. Frank, always good to see you.
Thank you, Jason. Happy to be here this morning.
All right, good to see you. And let's now go to Mighty here on the island, where Dr. Dolores Lee joins us again. Dr. Lee, already a celebrity here on the show, because Doc, your segment was very, very enjoyed by our local community here, and they said they really appreciated the fact that you empathized, and you said you take a you can relate to your patients, and people really took that to heart, and they said, I really understand the disease better, and how we, it's not just one person going through it, but their entire peer group, their family, their church, what have you.
Thank you so much, and just always happy to help out my community in any way I can. So thanks so much for having me back. Mananasitos, buenas, and healthy.
All right, and can we get a Join Your Rules again? Do you just want to rep your village?
Join Your Rules.
There you go. All right, so and we hope all of Jonia is tuning in right now. Dr. Erica Alford, also a local physician, a very well respected one. Daka, what village are you from? I didn't get a chance to ask you last time.
Good morning. I actually grew down the street from Dolores.
Oh.
From Dr. Lee. We were in the same neighborhood.
Okay. Do you want to give us a Join Your Rules as well?
Join Your Rules.
There we go. Outstanding. And now let's go stateside, where we're going to head to the mainland. Let's go out first to Hotlanta, the ATL, as the cool kids call it, where Dr. Francisco Pascal, an esteemed physician and someone doing a lot of work with technology and with the diagnosis. Doc, always good to see you, and thank you for returning.
Thanks very much. Good to see you again.
Okay, now let's go out to what they call the left coast, out to Los Angeles, where Dr. Juan Espinoza is there. Dr. Espinoza is, of course, deals with pediatrics. He also talked to us about a lot of what's coming up with treatment and the study of data. So, Doc, good to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be here again. Good to see you.
Okay. Do you guys want to rep your high school, or what town you grew up in? I mean, since we're all about civic pride here on the show, you're more than welcome.
We've moved around so much. I don't know what I would call. I think LA is my hometown. It's the place where I lived the longest.
There you go. Well, my sister and my brother are in LA, so I've got a special place for the City of Angels in my heart, certainly. And now let's go kind of upstate to the Bay Area, where an esteemed professor, physician, and someone who has really made a lot of pioneering work in the field of diabetes, Dr. David Klonoff. Doc, welcome back to the show.
Oh, nice to be here.
All right, and I guess I'd like to start by just saying, Doc, I ordered your book on Amazon. I've been reading it all this week, and it's a very, very accessible book. You guys, please go out and get it. Diabetes, Digital Health. There you go.
Feel free to quiz him.
Yeah, I've got it on Kindle, but the one thing, I mean, it's a very honest truth, and also very sobering at the same time, as you say, literally in the foreword of the book, is that the largest groups of people that have diabetes in the world are in China and India, but it's Pacific Islanders who have the highest prevalence rate. So maybe to contextualize what we're going to talk about today, can you just maybe give some opening statements about that statistic?
Yeah, diabetes can be a real problem for people. It's associated with various complications, higher incidence of heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, blindness, amputation. So anything people can do to prevent diabetes is a very good idea. And if a person has diabetes, then by living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy, exercising, people can do a lot under control and take the medicines as prescribed. And people can do well with diabetes if people put the work into it.
And here on Guam, we've kind of talked about this all week long, about the prevalence of diabetes here on our island, and it's 1 in 6 have diabetes on island. And so I wanted to just start to give our community just awareness about and what this is all about, the AI Health Guam validation study.
Yeah, sure. I would be happy to take that one. So the mission of AI Health is, how can we use artificial intelligence, data, and technology to support people and communities to achieve their best health? And where we wanted to start with was diabetes as something that is a global issue. And it's also a disease that disproportionately affects people of color, ethnic and racial minorities, and lower income individuals. And so there was a huge disparity, and we felt it was really important for us that was a place to start. And what we're hoping to accomplish with our study, we're thinking of our study in 3 different phases. The first phase of this study is really just understanding if we can look at known data, so patients who we know have diabetes and we know what's happened to them over time, can we derive, can we get from that, can we develop algorithms that might be able to predict the future, right? Can we predict who's going to have a complication, who might need a transplant, who might have a heart attack, who might have a hospital visit? Once we do that, looking at what we call retrospective data, so data that already exists, then we want to move, okay, now let's do it prospectively. So looking forward, let's follow people into the future and see if we can, as we get data in real time from them, how does that change our algorithm? Can we move that, can we use that to fine tune the algorithm even better? And then the third and really the most exciting phase is, great, we found a signal, we can predict who is more likely to have a complication, who might do better with a certain treatment. Now what? What do we do for that person? How do we actually help that person get better? Is it a different treatment? Is it a different medication? Is it a nurse coordinator, a social worker reaching out, helping with recommending diet and exercise? That's really the crux. The data and the algorithms and the artificial intelligence, that is just a vehicle to help us get better treatment to people so that they can experience better health. So that's how that's what we're trying to do at AI Health. And really our partnership with the community here in Guam is so critical to do that, because it requires trust. We have to work together. We need to understand how diabetes affects people here locally and what they can do about it here locally. It doesn't do me any good to develop this algorithm in New York City and then say, oh, right, great, here, it works in New York City, you use it. It doesn't work that way, because communities are different, people are different. And so we really wanted to be able to demonstrate that it can work here, and from here, and say, great, now let's try to globalize this. Let's take this somewhere else and see what else can be done. But we're really excited about the possibility of doing this type of work here in Guam. It's kind of a perfect setting to do that. It's a very diverse community. It's not too big, not too small. We can capture enough patients to really get the information we need, and we can identify really all the partners that we need. Calvo Select, GRMC, AMC, public health, the governor, public awareness campaigns, like working with Guam on doing this together. We can build a really nice community and really achieve this goal together. So we're really excited to be here.
And you said, like you said, the partnerships are key. And so I wanted to throw it over to Mr. Campillo to talk about the partnership with AI Health to make this study a reality.
Thank you, Sabrina. Well, our mission as a health insurance plan is to help our members improve their lives by offering them several health and wellness tools to address some of the critical issues that they have. And diabetes, as you know, is a critical issue, especially in our island. We are number 10 in the world in regards to the incidence of diabetes, and as Dr. David was saying, the Pacific Islanders are have especially high numbers. Marshalls is the #1 country in the world in regards to the incidence of diabetes. So based on this mission, it was very easy for us to work with AI and try to get this algorithm validated for the island. And what we're doing is we're providing data in our members that have diabetes, and see how we can get this program going and see how we can help the island. And at the end, they help our members, which is the most important mission that we have.
I'd like to kind of bring Dr. Pascal into the fold, if I might, because Dr. Espinoza, I think you touched on that beautifully, is, the importance of having diverse data and, not being able to say, we gathered a sample of, say, 10,000 patients and then we're going to apply that, worldwide, because very often that approach will not work, especially when it comes to like the stratification of different patients and everything. But Dr. Pascal, you mentioned in our segment the other day how important it is to have AI models that are truly like unbiased and have a wide range of data so that they can be more effective.
Well, absolutely, and the new technology it's superior to the typical models that we have used in the past, where there's different ways and mathematical ways to do it. And the same with AI, there's several different ways and alternatives to introduce those predictive models. But I think using all the information that we have from patients, from the data, getting the information from the individual patient at the individual level, getting the information from their sensors, for example, getting information from the clinic visits, and getting all that information together will help us have a better understanding of the actual situation of each individual patient, as opposed to just going back to getting some demographics and making some decisions on underlying characteristics of patients that really are not telling us the whole truth of what's going on with our patients. So having all this ecosystem of data and being able to integrate that into a personalized approach, I think is going to make a big difference. There's obviously a lot of issues with biases in previous algorithms and racial biases that have been reported before, and I think this approach has the potential to eliminate those.
Yeah, and we've heard, the instances of data sets being biased, perhaps, like for consumer products, like, Google's got 7 or 8 different times when they say, they may have had an image classifier that was supposed to identify apples, and it actually said, oh, like a banana is an apple and everything. It's a trivial example of that, but when you're actually dealing with human patients and people that could be sick, it's a completely different environment that you're playing in, and obviously way more sensitive.
Yeah, and the issues about insurance coverage and all those things, there have been a lot of issues and complaints before about how people are identified based on their background and how the insurance coverage may change just because of that. So this is really relevant, and moving forward, I think there's an opportunity to change the way we visualize care.
I think there's a really important thing that Dr. Pascal is touching on, which is this concept of ethical AI. Right, ethical artificial intelligence, right? That we should be doing this in a way that truly helps support all people with a lens of equity. And when we think about artificial intelligence, it's not that machines themselves are the bias isn't from the algorithm, right? Ones and zeros aren't racist, but machines learn from what they're taught, like kids. And so, the classic examples in machine learning are facial recognition software that were trained to recognize faces on a bank of 1,000 photos of only white men. Then all of a sudden, when they see, for example, a black woman, it doesn't know what to do. Yep. And so we as humans who program AI and who develop AI, we introduce bias into those systems. Or we might introduce bias because we say, oh, this feature, this data element, let's say, income level or ownership of a car is what's important. And really that's, to us, what that's telling the system is to pick up on that data element as being important, but that data element really is just a proxy for something else. Maybe it could be race or socioeconomic status or something else. And so again, our biases as humans, when we apply those and they get incorporated into these algorithms, and then the beauty and danger of these algorithms is they can be applied at scale. So now all of a sudden, you're not just making biased decisions on one person, you're making biased decisions on 10,000 people at the same time. And so that's the danger of artificial intelligence and why that approach to really ethical AI is so critical. And you can be ethical in how you train it, you can be ethical in how you program it. You also have to be ethical in how you use it and in how you share it. One thing that we're really looking forward to in partnership with all of the other organizations in Guam who are really helping us, JRMC, CAL and AMC, is over time starting up a forum where we want to have community events where we want to share progress. Like, this is how our study's going, these are the numbers that we're getting, and this is what it's looking at, because we want the community, this community this is your data. These are your lives, your patients, your family members. And so you have a right to know what we're doing with it. And so one of the things that we're going to start coordinating with is hosting regular opportunities for the community to have an insight into what we are doing with that data, and provide a chance for updates and a chance to provide feedback so that you can tell us how you think we're doing with what is very much your data.
And, for GRMC, they're serving as the internal review board for this study. And Dr. Alford, if you could kind of talk about your role as the principal investigator.
Hey, yes, absolutely. So I am one of 2 endocrinologists in Guam. And so my role in this study is being the clinician on the ground with the patients and the patient base to help facilitate the study, as we always need the patients in order to make a study successful. I must say our patients on Guam are amazing. They're always willing to help, and I learn from them on an every single day basis. And so they may say that they learn from me a lot, but the amount of education I get from them is absolutely amazing. So my role in this study is mostly as the clinical endocrinologist practicing in Guam with the patients and the local expertise about diabetes in Guam.
I know earlier this week when you were on the show, you were it was kind of show and tell with the glucose monitoring devices that you were, featuring. So I'm just kind of wondering if those continuous glucose monitors, if they're going to be used as a part of the study.
Absolutely. The best way to get good glucose data is to get continuous glucose data, because point in time testing only gives you a small picture. So the plan is absolutely to use continuous glucose monitoring as part of the study.
And Dr. Lee, if you could talk a little bit more about your role in the study as well.
I actually don't have like a direct role in the study, but in terms of in terms of a provider who takes care of patients with diabetes, in partnership with the other partners in the study. And so I know that, my patients will be part of the data set. And really I think my role will be promoting, just the positive relationship that we have with everyone who's directly involved in the study, and thanking our patients for being willing to be part of it. As Dr. Alford said, we have an amazing community here. Patients are always willing to help out, especially when we think about the fact that the end result is something that is going to improve our community in some way. And I really appreciate, that Dr. Espinosa acknowledged that the data belongs to our people. That's really important, so I think, my role would be, again, continuing to take care of patients in partnership with Dr. Alford and with, the other partners in the study, and really, just promoting like what the purpose is, and and thanking our patients for being part of it.
Okay.
That's I just want to say that is a critical role, because patients face so many pressures in that. There's work, there's family, there's their finances, just their free time. And sometimes participating in research just doesn't become a priority for a bunch of very good and understandable reasons. And so having partners in the community who are always encouraging, who are supportive, who are helping to answer questions goes such a long way in helping research studies be successful. So it's something that we're incredibly grateful for.
I think that is a hallmark of the Guam community, and I think anybody here would agree that our people always do what we can to step up. So maybe, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody wants to jump in, how can people be candidate for being included in that population of the data set that will be generated?
Yeah. So for the first part of the study, we're using retrospective data, so data that's already been collected over the last 5 years by AMC, GRMC, and Calvo Select. So that part of the data, that one's easy on people. You don't have to do anything. Where we will be recruiting patients to participate in the study is in the second phase, where we'll be following patients moving forward, and we'll be recruiting patients to participate from the practices and clinics in Guam. So working with providers like Dr. Lee, and of course with our PI, Dr. Alford, and our partners at GRMC to identify patients who are eligible and who are willing to be part of our study. So that will probably start later next year, while we're still doing the first phase where we're looking at the existing data.
Oh, okay. Because I'm sure there are people like myself where diabetes has a tendency to run on my father's side of the family. I have been tested multiple times, and I'm 47, but they said you're okay for the moment. But I'm sure there are people like me that would say, based on my family history and hereditary and everything like that, I may want to contribute if I'm able.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And one of the things that we started doing as a result of this partnership that we have with you and your team is putting together a website with resources just on diabetes in general, educational resources, learning resources, community-based resources, And so we hope that that website is something that sort of that the Guam community can turn to and depend on, and it'll be a place where we can share updates on our study, but also just access to great recommendations on healthy living and exercise and care that you can access in Guam. Because the whole point of when we talk about lifestyle management for diabetes, your lifestyle management has to fit your lifestyle. And your lifestyle is in many ways dictated by the fact that you're here, you live on Guam. So great, what can we do in Guam to help manage your diabetes?
Okay, that's a perfect segue, Doc, because I wanted to bring Dr. Klonoff in for this next question, because when it comes to lifestyle, Dr. Klonoff, I want to say when we did that piece with you the other day, when you talked about the system that will basically be use the wire and the ball, if there was like in the little microscope that is Guam Twitter, I think wire and ball was trending because everybody was like, wait, no more finger pricks and no more needles and everything. Everybody was on board with that. So when it comes to this type of wearable technology, how do you, as someone who's done pioneering work in this space and everything, how will that impact the lifestyle, the quality of life, and the healthcare of the patient? And can you speak to how it might also economically, like if there might be like cost to that?
Right. Well, the wire and the ball is a way of describing a continuous glucose monitor, which is a tiny, flexible wire. It's made of plastic. It doesn't hurt. It sits under the skin, and there's a little ball at the end of it that sends a message wirelessly to a computer, and a person can look on the computer or on their smartphone, see what the blood glucose is. It turns out just about everything we do will affect the blood glucose. It might raise it a little bit, might raise it a lot, or lower the blood glucose. And when a person is wearing a real-time continuous glucose monitor, they can see what are the activities they do that raise the glucose, which ones don't. When I give one of these to one of my patients, I'll say to them, what's the worst thing that you can eat? And I get comments like cake, ice cream. Let's say ice cream. So, okay, ice cream. I want you to go eat some ice cream. See what happens to your blood glucose. It's one thing for the doctor to say ice cream raises your blood sugar, but another to see what it really does. And people will discover certain foods agree with them and certain foods don't agree with them. There are other kinds of sensors that we'll be using in this study that will make other measurements that affect a person's health. We want to be able to give recommendations to people which activities work best for them to keep their body functioning normally.
So it's basically like real-time proof of concept to saying, okay, well, you ate that candy bar and everything like that. Did you see your levels spike?
Exactly.
No, I'm sure that Dr. Lee and Dr. Alford, who have absolute pulse of the community when it comes to people, and like I said, our people rise to the occasion, but we're also known as we can be pretty stubborn. So, like, ladies, if you would, offer from a clinician standpoint and everything like that, when people have kind of like pushback or maybe they don't immediately like buy into a system, what will this technology mean as far as really convincingly driving home that point of, here's why you have to take care of yourself because this is the impact of that?
Oh, that knowledge is absolutely important. I'll take an example. I just saw a new gentleman a few days ago. Threw him on, I was like, let's get you on a CGM, got him on the Dexcom, and as of yesterday, he's on about half the amount of insulin that he was taking just 4 days ago, and his blood sugars have stopped spiking and dropping, and they have been tightly controlled in the last 48 hours. It's absolutely amazing what that little bit of information can do for a person.
Definitely, I have to agree, both as a clinician, as somebody who takes care of patients with diabetes, and then as I live with someone with diabetes, right, my dad. And so, one of the things that is, like I was saying on Monday, education is key. We want patients to be able to better understand their condition and how their actions impact their condition, right? And that, a great majority of my role is to help patients understand that so I can empower them and give them the confidence to make good choices, and I have to say that, when I pair the glucose monitoring with asking patients to keep a food journal, and asking them to be honest about what it is they're eating, and they see that correlation with how what they ate impacts their sugar, they make that change, they eventually make the change, right? In terms of because they want to see that their sugar's in a better place. And I'll give it to you from the standpoint of my dad. If he sees that he eats a meal and his sugars shoot up into the 200s, 300s, 400s, which is a place definitely where he does not want to be. he's going to modify his intake of that the next time. So I think definitely, I always tell patients that, you know, I'm not asking you to monitor your sugar because I'm trying to burden you or I'm trying to make you feel bad. I'm actually asking you to monitor your sugar because I feel like it's going to help you to understand what you're doing, how it impacts your diabetes, and it's going to empower you and help you and encourage you to be able to make better choices for yourself.
Does that kind of break, you know, that cultural, like I said, you know, I said pushed back or, you know, being stubborn and everything like that, but there is that kind of like cultural barrier where if someone younger than you is trying to impart, you know, knowledge, it's like, oh, you can't say that because, you know, like, you know, respect your elders and that whole thing. But when you take this approach backed by data, hopefully that is in real time and everything like that, does that really prove the point?
You know, definitely for patients who are willing to make the change, right? You know, and again, you know, I have patients who will tell me straight out, I just don't like checking my blood sugar. I would prefer not to know, doc. You know, and I would just tell them, I'm like, you know, and honestly, I'll appeal to them in any way that I can. I'll be like, could you at least humor me and do it for at least a week? You know, can you do it for any amount of time here? And you know, and I work with them to get them to that place. But of course, patients have to be willing to be there, right? You know, and eventually, you know, and I think the key is relationships. You know, I know both Dr. Alford and I have shared, you know, our stories that we have patients who honestly just like to come in and just talk to us. Are they really going to follow, you know, any of the recommendations we're making? Maybe not. But you know, I know Dr. Alford and I both agree. We're thankful that patients are willing to come see us. And I think we express that gratitude whenever we do see patients, and that just helps us to build on the relationship. You're right, you know, in terms of like, I do have Madame-Co patients who refer to me as girl or nanny, you know, and you know, and I take it because I realize that's, you know, it's not meant to be condescending. It's just, it's meant to be affectionate, you know, and the most important part is the relationship, because if I tell patients, if you're not willing to come in and see me and at least willing to have the conversation, then I can't do anything for you. And so I think, you know, Dr. Alford and I both agree, you know, we continue to, you know, keep really good relationships with our patients, keep them coming back into our office. And I want to say that even with patients who are initially hesitant, like my father, you know, because Dr. Alford has helped my dad, like my father, who are initially hesitant, they eventually will make the change, you know, because, you know, consistency, like a consistent message and a good continuous relationship with patients will help us to get there.
I did want to ask about going back into the study. I know it's focused on diabetes, but will you also be gathering data with regard to COVID?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, we definitely, part of the study is understanding what are the comorbidities or other conditions that patients have experienced. So one of the data points that we will be collecting is, did a patient have COVID? We won't be studying COVID specifically as part of this study, but certainly we've had the opportunity to speak to the governor, and I know that there are others on the island who are interested in how this technology might be used for other conditions like COVID. And so certainly those are things that we're interested in. And I think both Dr. Pascal and Dr. Konoff earlier this week talked about you know, how COVID uniquely affects people with diabetes and how their outcomes can be in many ways worse than other patients.
And I think, you know, and we've talked about, you know, these systems and the wearable technology and what it means to have that kind of, you know, rapid response data and see the results of that very, very quickly from the patient's perspective. And Dr. Pascal, you made the point very strongly the other day during our segment, as you said, from the physician standpoint, being able to remotely monitor, you know, is very advantageous to your profession.
And I think it's not just for the doctors following the patients remotely in the hospital, the patients with COVID, for example, which is what we've been doing recently, but it's also the ability of caregivers, family members, to be able to follow up on their patients. So I think there's the technology is going so fast that I don't think there has been yet an opportunity to develop all the training material for patients to learn how to use CGM, because many patients may be just using the technology to just look at the glucose instead of looking at with the finger stick, they look at with the machine, but not necessarily interpreting the data or making predictions of what's going to happen. So I think it's also an opportunity to look at engagement. I think as the phase 2 of the study continues to develop, looking at engagement, asking patients, what are the things that they don't like about the technology, they don't understand about the technology, how can we teach them better to use it effectively? I think that's also going to be an important part, because sometimes the most disadvantaged patients, sometimes patients with less resources, are more likely to discontinue the use of technology. So I think that's also another area that we may consider exploring.
It's been reported that the rising costs in Medicare, Medicaid are impacting the quality of healthcare. What impact could a platform like AI Health have to help address these costs while improving care?
I think a benefit of these treatments is that we will have some specific recommendations for people. Rather than say something might work, we'll be much more likely to know that it will work, and we won't waste time and money. I'll give you an example. If you have a pill that works in 50% of patients, then you know that some of them are going to be getting their money's worth and some aren't. But what it really means is that in half the patients, it works all the time. In half the patients, it doesn't work at all. If we knew who they were, we would save time and money just using it on the right patients. The type of data that we're going to be collecting in this study will allow us to make a precise assessment of the patient, what's wrong, what's right, and select a treatment that's very likely to work. So I think that will save money.
Yeah, Frank, I'm assuming you have some insight that you can give to this question.
Well, absolutely. And some of the information that has been discussing regarding to why it's important to bring this to the islands. For instance, some of the examples that were even used by our panel makes it more important that we realize we need to bring it to the micros, to the islands. For instance, Dr. David used ice cream as one of the staples that somebody will say, go eat ice cream and see what happens with your glucose. In our case, we will say, go eat Spam, because that's the popular staple in our island. So that's the important reason why analyzing the social economic statuses, what people eat, the different type of food intakes are important. But yes, we as a company, we provide coverage for the CGMs. That's something that we started doing just recently, something that we're working with Dr. Erica to get our members more used to this type of devices. Of course, there are certain qualifications. They're not for everybody, but those individuals that are meeting those qualifications, I think we're getting them. Dr. Erica, I don't know if that member that you were talking about earlier was our patient, but clearly we began working with your team to provide these CGMs to our members, and we continue promoting them, and hopefully we're able to get more real-time information so we are able to control the diabetes and improve their lives easier and quicker. And in regards to the study, yes, having the data, having more information about what our population does, something that as simple as whether our population walks 6,000 steps or 10,000 steps a day, that's something that will bring the difference between what kind of medications can be used for those individuals. Because clearly exercise, for instance, is something that also affects the way how medications are overall digested and overall applied to individuals. So we look forward to continuing with this study and continue supporting AI Health.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, Frank, because I think Calvo Select, when you guys made that decision, before we were ever, we didn't know each other when you made the decision to start making coverage decisions for CGMs, is, CGMs certainly have a cost associated with them. Depending on the brand, they're a couple $100 all the way up to $600. But what Calvo Select and insurance companies like them have realized is that's okay. It is worth spending that money, because improving the cost of healthcare, reducing the overall cost of healthcare isn't about giving people less healthcare. It's about giving them the right healthcare they need. Because what's expensive in healthcare is the hospitalizations and the emergency room visits and the ICU and the surgeries. And so if we can give them the care they need, access to, say, a technology like CGM, or access to a nutritionist, or access to a social worker, right? If we can give them the care they need, then we can prevent them having to access the care that's very expensive, the ER, the hospital, the ICU. And so I think the CGM is just one tiny microcosm of how insurance companies are starting to think about, well, let's give people tools that, sure, they cost us money now, but they're going to prevent us from having these bigger expensive. Not only are they expensive for us, but they're catastrophic for people.
Mm-hmm. So in a way, and maybe Frank would probably quite literally, this is insurance, and it's insurance for your health.
Well, in a way, we provide tools to our members that are going to improve their lives at the end of the day. And by improving their lives, hopefully there is a cost reduction. And when we talk about diabetes, I don't know if you know this, but even in this infrastructure bill that was signed by the president, there are huge amounts of money there for diabetes because it has become such a catastrophic disease in America that we realize we got to get ahead of this disease. Otherwise, it will be economically unaffordable for the country.
Mm. I wanted to talk real quick, maybe Dr. Alford can speak to this. When it comes to the continuous glucose monitors, these CGMs, I realized that one thing I forgot to ask all you wonderful people like over this week was, where exactly is it administered, and how often does it have to be, does the system have to be replaced, if at all? I mean, because does it always is there an advantageous part, like maybe on the arm and the chest close to the heart, or could I do the fashionable thing and I'll like have a piercing on the nose if I want to be one of the cool kids? Or
person in the nose.
I mean, that would look great in 2005. Maybe in 2021, not so much anymore. Fashion changes.
My apologies.
So it is brand specific. There are some manufacturers where you wear it on the arm. There are others that you wear on your abdomen, and depending on the device, they get changed out every 10 to 14 days usually.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And we're supporting the one that is wearable in your abdomen, the Dexcom one. The Libre, which is produced by Abbott, is wore on your arm, but somehow it appears that because of the way how you move your arm, the frequency of disconnection of that particular seems to be greater than the one that you wear in your abdomen. So we support the Dexcom, but both are equally as good. There is great progress over what used to be before with the glucose monitors where you had to prick your finger. So that also improves people's lives. At the end of 20 years of people pricking their fingers, they really are not able to even have senses in their fingers because those nerves have been basically killed by all the pricking that you do. So this is another way to improve people's lives.
I agree, Frank, because my dad did the finger pricking for like almost 8 years and everything like that, and it was hard for him to type on his smartphone, like after a while, just because like you said, like his fingers got pricked like thousands of times. I guess another thing I didn't ask was when we talk about the stratification of these devices, are the devices equally effective on maybe young children as well as the elderly, or is there a specific type of that kind of system if you're like a young person who has diabetes?
Yeah, so we've actually been using the continuous glucose monitoring technology has been in use with children with type 1 diabetes for a very long time. And each of the manufacturers, so the FDA regulates what age group is appropriate to use different devices. And so the main manufacturers, Dexcom, Abbott, and Medtronic, all have pediatric indications. I think they all go down to about 2 years of age. But yeah, so they certainly, we use them in children. Really, they're across the lifespan, and there's good data both from clinical practice and from research studies that shows that they're safe and effective in children as well as in adults.
There's even recent preliminary data that they may be helpful in preterm infants, and it's just incredible how it's being applied to the whole kind of population in general, because it can be beneficial. I don't think it's for everyone. At some point, some people demonstrated that there's even no need to do some finger sticks in patients that maybe taking just one pill for diabetes, just like metformin, and their glucose is fine. So maybe all that information is probably not needed for them. It's just also becoming a choice. But the evidence so far is that for patients that use at least basal insulin in general, tends to work. Patients on basal bolus, it works. Patients with type 1 diabetes, it works. in terms of improving glycemic control. And the other part that is not very well understood is like the component of behavior, because it's a little bit more difficult to assess. But it's now really a behavior modification tool. Because the patient is, as David was saying, the patient is interacting with their own data in real time, and they're getting the feedback immediately. So I think learning how to interpret that data, and hopefully most patients will learn that and will benefit from it.
I wanted to go back to the study, and if you could kind of talk about like the duration of the study, because you mentioned next year you're going to start recruiting people to participate. So how long are you going to be gathering the data?
It's a great question. We want to get at least a minimum of 12 months of observational data from patients who agree to participate in the study. If we can get more, we will. But 12 months is a big commitment, and we want to work with individuals in the community to understand how do we make this more palatable, more acceptable, so that it makes sense to stay enrolled and to continue to work with us. But our goal is to get at least 12 months of data for every patient that agrees to participate in our study. And agreeing to participate in our study means that we're gonna give you the sensors, so you'll have access to them. We will provide you with a mobile application that'll help collect the information on your behalf. Patients will sporadically be asked to answer some surveys and just provide some information about their behavior, right? Their physical activity, their diet. We also are really cognizant of the impact of stress and mental health on diabetes and the control of your blood sugar. And so we'll have some questions around that. Our goal is not to make this intrusive, but hopefully that it's something that sort of fits with your overall care plan of sort of taking care of yourself and being healthy. There aren't any interventions, so to speak. If for anybody out there who's participated in a research study, sometimes say, okay, well, to participate in the study, you have to come to the hospital on this day, and we're going to do these things to you. That's not really the kind of study this is. This is really live your normal life, and every now and then check in with us on this mobile app, answer a quick survey. Is it okay if we look at your sensor data? So we try to make it not obtrusive and not get in people's way, so they can still lead their lives while they're doing the incredibly important work of giving us an insight into the data that can help tune these algorithms so we can use them to predict how to help people better with their diabetes.
Thank you for sharing. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Kulano, please.
Something I say to people that are thinking of enrolling in a study like this is that many people who are adults have a family history. And that means that their children or nephews, nieces, grandchildren, or children of friends are likely to develop diabetes when they get older. And if someone who has diabetes now takes part in a study like this and provides data that we can use to create better treatments, then those treatments might be used for one of their own relatives.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Dr. Espinoza, for bringing that up, like the privacy aspect, because I can already anticipate, and getting back to ethical AI, every time a conversation like this comes up and data says, people just go on the internet and they read, oh, somebody's going to use your data for something, it's going to be used for advertising or whatever, if I participate in this study, Facebook's going to start sending me ads and everything like that. So I'd like to give you gentlemen and ladies, the opportunity to maybe just dispel any myths about, about privacy, about security, or things like that I'm assuming have already bubbled up.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So medical research under U.S. legislation is very strict in what kind of data you're allowed to collect and what you're allowed to do with it, and more specifically, what you're not allowed to do with it. But the legal and regulation part, that's just the stick, right? Like this is what happens if you do it wrong. We also have the oversight of the IRB, the Institutional Review Board at GRMC, that's overseeing the conduct of the site. We have to submit to them our protocols, what we plan to do with the data, where the data is going to be housed. And again, going back to our commitment to ethical AI and transparency is, we will make all of our documentation, not the data, publicly available. So anybody who wants to know, I want to know where my data is, great. We will tell you exactly where it is. Patients who at some point decide they don't want to participate in the study are able to leave the study at any time and have their data removed or purged. We take healthcare data security very, very, very seriously. We use incredibly complex and advanced cryptographic algorithms to protect data and to de-identify data so that there's no way for, even if somebody were to have a breach into a data center, there's no way to tell that, that patient is you. So this is something that is incredibly important to us, especially for a team and a company and a product that's based on data. If we can't guarantee the safety of our data, what can we guarantee? Right. So we take it incredibly seriously, and it is a trust. We think of ourselves, we are stewards, right? This doesn't belong to us, it belongs to you, and it is we have the privilege to be able to use your data and work with your data. And so it is our responsibility to then keep that data safe so that you're safe.
And Dr. Klonoff, you were actually featured in Wired magazine for your thoughts on data security at the device level, so even dealing with the hardware.
Yes, a device could be susceptible to a security breach, and I'm currently working with the International Electrical Engineers Organization to create a cybersecurity standard, and we're also working with FDA, who will, I believe, recognize the standard when we're finished. There's three kinds of problems that could happen if a device is not secure. There could be a lack of confidentiality, and someone else could find out the records, or maybe the data isn't available when you want it, or maybe it could even be changed. Fortunately, the products that I've seen are pretty good at security, but security is an escalating field, and we have to always make it better. A standard will give manufacturers an idea of what they can do to really be sure they have good security. But the products we use are known to have good security.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Lee and Dr. Alford, have you already begun having these conversations with your patients about the upcoming validation study? And if so, what's been their feedback in terms of wanting to participate?
Absolutely. And I think a big thanks is to both of you, because they have heard about this study and they were interested and they've been asking questions. So I've broached them that when the time comes, we'll discuss enrolling them in the study. And so far, I've gotten very positive feedback from all the patients I've discussed this with. Thank you.
I'm just, I'm again, like I said, I'm as a community provider, I'm just learning about the study, and I definitely work very closely with Dr. Alford. And so we've, had a chance to discuss it. Already in my mind, I'm thinking about some patients that I'm willing to approach because I think that they will be a good fit for the study. And, like I said, I'm very hopeful, just because it's always been the response of our people in the past to have this willingness to contribute to information that is going to help our people and help our community. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
All right, very well. So we are almost out of time, but we'd like to give each of you doctors and those of us without MDs at the end of our name maybe the opportunity to maybe give some final thoughts about why people should participate in this. I mean, I don't see any reason why anyone would not to. It's good for our community. It's good for society. You're actually helping mankind by doing this, and you're taking care of your family as well as yourself. So we'll start with Dr. Francisco Pascal with your final thoughts, please, sir.
Absolutely. I think we're all together in this fight. It's concerning that at some point we were believing that the rate of obesity and diabetes was coming down. And then suddenly in the last couple of years, we started seeing that curve started going back up. So it's really concerning, particularly in young people. So I think prevention is the most important. We've learned with the pandemic that we are just trying to patch things as opposed to have preventive measures. So learning from the community, understanding what is going on in the community, seeing where we can improve, I think that's extremely important. So participating in the study will allow the community to understand what is going on at the individual and population level, so we can find better solutions for the health of the community.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Okay, Dr. Juan Espinoza, if you would, please.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm just super excited about in this study is that it's certainly, at least in my career, the first time that I've been involved in a project that is truly a collaboration across every sector. I mean, we're working with hospitals and healthcare providers in Guam. We're working with Frank and his team at Calvo Select as an insurance provider. We're working with Dexcom, who's the manufacturer of these devices, who's going to be the devices that we use in our study. The governor's office has been incredibly gracious in helping us think about how we collaborate with public health officials, and that's fantastic. Like, that does not happen in healthcare. So, we're incredibly grateful and lucky that we get to do that. We get to do that in Guam. But the reality is, even if we line up all those ducks, the most important partner is the community, or the people who are going to participate. And it doesn't matter what we do with everybody else if people don't have the trust and the interest, and if we don't foster, if we don't earn that trust and that interest, then all of this is for naught.